The Rockies continue their California swing as they have made their way to lovely San Diego. Tonight at Petco Park, the Rockies open up a 3-game series against the very surprising San Diego Padres. The Padres leading the division at 16-9. The Rockies just a game south of 500 after a 4-1 victory yesterday in San Francisco. And good evening, everybody. With Jeff Houston, I'm Drew Goodman. Ubaldo Jimenez takes the baseball tonight. He is off to not only a sensational start in 2010, but if you look back over the last 50 years, it is one of the greatest starts of the last 50 seasons.
And that's what makes it so special to be able to watch this guy inning after inning, pitch after pitch, game after game, because he is so special. And every time he goes out there, you think he has the ability to throw another no-hitter.
Well, you know what? He's been stingy giving up hits and runs, but so have the San Diego Padres overall. Get this. In 40 of their last 42 innings, Jeff, they haven't allowed a run.
And that's really probably the most shocking thing right now in all of baseball. The ERA for the Padres, the way they've been able to go out there and dominate from the hill, that's part of the reason why their record is what it is. That bullpen ERA, 2.40. They're allowing a batting average against below 200. 6 shutouts, 3 this past weekend against the Milwaukee Brewers. So they are getting it done on the hill. They're doing a little bit of the little things offensively, scoring enough runs. But this is all done without a Jake Peavy, a Chris Young, a lot of guys other than John Garland and maybe Kevin Correa, who's throwing tonight, that you really haven't heard a whole lot about.
Looks like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Who are those guys?
Who are those guys?
But they're getting it done. They're 16-9, as we mentioned. Ubaldo Jimenez has been getting it done. Rockies and Padres, come on back to San Diego with us. Colorado Rockies baseball on FSN is brought to you by Quest high-speed internet. Get blazing fast speeds. It won't burn up your wallet. By E470, it's quick, easy, and available to anyone. Test drive it today. By the Ford Super Duty. Built stronger, tougher, better. Built Ford tough. Ford Super Duty. Drive one. And by Grainger, with over 900,000 products for the ones who get it done. We are set to go. First pitch is brought to you by Domino's Pizza. Text keyword pizza followed by a space and your name to 95323 to receive your Domino's special offer and to be entered to win a pizza party for 15. One weekly winner will be chosen. Seth Smith's going to lead it off tonight against Kevin Correa. And Correa's first pitch is in there for a strike. Correa, like everybody in a San Diego uniform who toes the rubber, has been pitching very well.
They've been really going to that old adage, strike one, first pitch, much like their manager, Bud Black. Yeah, they've really kind of taken on his personality. There's Bud, former left-handed pitcher, mainly with the Kansas City Royals. He's taught these guys something.
That pitch misses 2-1. So Seth Smith getting an opportunity to start and hit out of that leadoff role. He told me earlier that he's feeling better and better with the bat. Carlos Gonzalez will be in an RBI slot tonight again. This is fouled off down the left field line, and it may be playable. And the catch is made by Headley. A lot of room down that left field line. Usually, you know, the stands kind of jut in a little bit earlier in most of the newer ballparks. Here at Petco, there's a little more room. Let's take a look at the Rockies batting order tonight for Jim Tracy. Dexter Fowler will be next, and Todd Helton back in that 3-hole. Tulowitzki hitting .310. Carlos Gonzalez at .330, leading the club in RBIs. Miguel Olivo, Ian Stewart, Clint Barmas, and Ubaldo Jimenez. So here's Dexter. He's really swung the bat well the last 10 days. That pitch evidently at the knees. Fowler thought that was low, and I think Dexter has a case. Dexter's about 6'5".
Right, and that ball came in just below the knees. Especially when you're taking a pitch, you see that ball so well that you know if it's in the strike zone.
Yeah, we're missing a pitch, so we can't tell you on the Ford strike zone if that first one
well,
was.
I'm saying it was, so it was out of the zone.
It was so low it didn't even show up.
Yep.
1 and 2. Correa is a guy that'll throw a variety of pitches. He sinks it, he cuts it, change up, curveball, slider, and he'll throw it in any count.
Right. I remember when he was with the Giants, he threw a lot harder then.
This ball hit hard to short, and the kid makes the play. That kid is Lance Sawatsky, who is up because Everett Cabrera, the former Rocky farmhand, is on the disabled list with a hamstring. Take a look at the scouting report on Correa.
I want to kind of go back to your point you were mentioning just a moment ago, Drew. He will cut it, will sink it fastball. Only about 88, 92. Will sit right around that 90-mile-an-hour mark. Throw it about 50% of the time. Slider, change up, and the pitch he's starting to throw more and more is that curveball, about 74, 78 miles an hour.
Helton swings at the first pitch. This may be another opportunity for Headley. And well, you know what? Headley's going to sit down and have a hot dog.
Well, they kicked him out because he didn't buy a ticket.
Hey, you're not allowed to sit there. That's my seat.
It's those people's seats.
Yeah. Oh, we got some Rockies fans in the front row also.
Well, Headley goes after this ball. It was almost identical to the ball that Seth Smith hit. Just ran out a little bit of real estate, but a valiant effort.
That guy, before Headley had hit the ground, the guy who caught the rebound was already showing it to his girlfriend. Did you see that? I think it was his girl. I couldn't even see her. He was showing it to somebody very fast.
One more look and we'll
got it.
Hey, I got it.
What? Watch Headley.
Okay. No, you don't have it.
Out
Off
of that
the
guy's
hands.
This guy's
right
got
there.
it.
It was like a
it's
rebound.
His kid. It's not his. Oh, I didn't even see it.
You know
it's
what?
his son.
The tip drill.
He obviously is a former defensive back. Here's the 0-2. Helton stays off that. Todd's had some success against Correa. 4 for 16. He's got the rock. Perfect.
That's what you're supposed to do, right? You get the ball, you give it to the kid.
Absolutely. Todd also owns a home run against Correa. That two-seamer kind of turned it over. 2-2.
Well, we talked about it on the pregame show, the way that the Padres tried to work the Milwaukee Brewers away into the zone a lot and try to get you out in front, try to hook the ball and play right into their hand.
And this is slowly hit out in front of the plate. Torrealba didn't pick it up, and he will not have a play on Helton. Yorvi Torrealba couldn't throw out his buddy. And that'll be an error on Torrealba, and it will allow Tulowitzki to hit here in the first inning. Defensively, San Diego aligns in the following manner. Hairston, Gwynn, and Will Venable in the outfield. Chase Headley off to a good start. Zawatsky, as we talked about, at shortstop. David Eckstein at second. Adrian Gonzalez at first. And Torrealba, who caught yesterday in the 8-0 shutout for the Padres over the Brewers, working behind the plate in back-to-back ball games. Now, this has been the toughest out for Correa in the Rockies lineup. Tulowitzki 5 for 12 against Correa.
Well, that's what he was yesterday against Jonathan Sanchez, too. 5 for 12. He's just kind of found that stroke on this California trip. And unlike April's in the past, he comes out of April with a nice batting average.
Two and 0. And this ball's hammered to deep left. Stay fair. It is a foul ball.
Just missed that. That's what you want to try to do with a 2-0 pitch. The forward strike zone shows that ball was up around the eyes, and Troy thought about it. He saw that little hop coming out of the box. He knew he had hit it far enough. It was just, okay, is it going to be able to stay fair and not hook at the end?
And this is a pop to third that is gloved by Headley. In the inning, the Rockies get a base runner on the error by Torrealba, nothing else. We'll see Jimenez when we come back. Bottom of the first inning, that is Anthony Gwynn, and he'll be leading off. Got a famous papa who's working on the television side tonight. Here's the Padres batting order against Ubaldo. David Eckstein will hit the 2-hole, then Adrian Gonzalez. Chase Headley's off to a fine start. The Colorado native, Will Venable. Scott Hairston's homered in the last couple of ball games. Torrey Alba's doing well. He's at 290. Lance Sawatsky made his big league debut yesterday and singled in his very first at bat against Randy Wolf and then Kevin Correa. So here we go, start number 6 for Ubaldo Jimenez, and it's been 5 full days of rest. The Rockies had an off day, and Ubaldo starts out with a fastball at 97 for strike 1.
And some people were wondering with the off day that Ubaldo could have started on Sunday in San Francisco, but Jim Tracy said this guy's pitched a lot of innings and a lot of baseballs have been thrown. Let me give him that extra day right now so we have him for July and August.
Well, with the extra rest, you get 97 and then 99. How do you like that?
With movement.
And see you later at 100. That's a pretty good start.
Anthony Gwynn.
That was a fun AB.
That was. Okay, I'll go up there and take 3 pitches, go back to the dugout, the last one being 100.
What'd you see? Well, it sounded fast. Here's the scouting report on Ubaldo.
And unfortunately, the numbers won't go up to 100. So we took him to 99. And that curveball, 79 to 83, slider, changeup. And with Ubaldo, the confidence that he has right now in all of his pitches, you don't know when you're going to get a secondary pitch. And in what count?
That's at 99. I mean, this is silly stuff. This is like Sid Finch.
Well, and it's so easy, too. That's the other thing. It's so effortless.
Yeah, it's not like he's grunting. And now he's 101.
See that extra day.
And the crowd just would nod. So, all right, now we get it. Now we understand why he's 5-0. 101. I would just keep going to the fastball.
Well, until they start to swing at it. Because they've seen 6 pitches now and haven't tried to even touch the ball.
Eckstein on a curveball gets hit. You're wondering why he threw a curveball there, huh?
Well, I am. When you're throwing 100, 101, why break it out just yet? I understand the philosophy sometimes where you want to go out there and you want to establish a breaking pitch early. That one just came out of the side of his hand, hit Eckstein. But you got 100 miles an hour right now, nice and easy. See if he can hit it. I'm betting he can't.
Well, as many a manager has said, and Jim Tracy most recently, 95 is hard to hit. 100, well, that's really difficult. That's 97 with run. Adrian Gonzalez swings and misses. Gonzalez is 4 for 21 with a couple of home runs against Jimenez. David Eckstein, an occasional base stealer at first. Padres leading the big leagues right now, stealing bases.
That is shocking. When you look at that and you sit there and say, Padres, really?
It is shocking because you look up and down their lineup. Other than Anthony Gwynn, you don't really see a speedster.
Well, I mean, Chase Headley leads their ball club with 8 stolen bases. He had 10 all of last year.
Yeah, that's something, isn't it?
But that's the way they have to play the game. They have to play small ball because you got a few guys that can hit the ball out. Adrian Gonzalez is one of them. But for the most part, they're just a singles type of team.
And Adrian is gone on a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. Well, defensively, the Rockies will have Seth Smith in left, Dexter Fowler in center, and Cargo's in right. Stewart, Tulowitzki, Barmas, and Helton, and Miguel Olivo behind the plate. 2 outs. Eckstein at first, and Chase Headley is at the plate. Part of the success in the early going for the Padres, you can attribute to what Headley has done. He's been very, very solid with the bat. And for a team other than Adrian Gonzalez that is devoid of a big name offensively, he has picked up some of that slack.
Well, he's a perfect complement to hit behind Adrian Gonzalez because he is a contact guy. He struck out a little bit more lately in the last 6 or 7 ball games, but is a guy that can switch hits. So if they bring in a lefty to face Adrian Gonzalez, he can flip over to the right side and gives Bud Black a little flexibility.
And the breaking ball's in the dirt. No advancement. It's 2-1.
See him just go back to that fastball.
Yeah, I mean,
that's exactly where he's going.
And a ground ball base hit. Epstein's going to go first to third.
They wanted the fastball away to Headley, try to get that running fastball going away, see if he'd roll over it. And it ended up being down and in. And forward strike zone shows that that was right in the swing path of Chase Headley. If that pitch is away, if he hits his location in his spot, that's a broken bat roll over 4-3 or a little soft ground ball to shortstop.
So Will Venable up there. And with 2 outs, runners at first and third. I have the most amazing stat on Jimenez that I've seen yet on this wonderful start. That's just the 3rd hit he's given up in 48 at-bats at night this year. Think about that. I'll repeat it.
One more time.
That's the 3rd hit he is allowed in a night game this year in 48 at-bats.
That's staggering.
Remarkable. But he's got to get Venable here. This is what the Padres have been doing. They've been getting timely hits. Their average isn't very good. It's below 250 as a team. They've had great pitching. They've had timely hitting. It's the old bromide for success, isn't it?
It is. And the other thing for the Padres, and a lot of times it's not a big home run or a double. They won a ball game the other day with all singles. Checking.
He went. And you know who that is at third base? That's Jimenez's old friend Jeff Kellogg, who was behind the plate in Atlanta a few weeks back when Jimenez threw the no-hitter. This is the same crew that was working that night in Atlanta. Again, the only differences are in different spots, but Kellogg was behind the plate. Kellogg, of course, also behind the plate when Anibal Sanchez threw that no-hitter to Miguel Oliva.
I like this. With an 0-2 count, we talked about the Padres and stealing bases and try to manufacture a run. Headley's over there. Case of he might go direct steal or a delayed steal. A lot of times managers will do that with the lefty because it kind of blocks the catcher's view. You have to be on your toes if you're an infielder, and that's why they call for the pitch out.
Jim Tracy looking on 1-2 on Venable.
1-2 is a good count to run on that, especially after a pitch out. You don't want to pitch out usually back-to-back times.
Ubaldo showing a lot of interest in Headley. And I'll tell you what, prior to this year, you would not have seen that.
No.
A little bit low, and it's 2-2.
Well, it's just part of the maturing process for Ubaldo. And before he was more of a thrower, he threw hard, but now he's learned how to pitch. And part of pitching is holding runners, and Bob Apodaca has a lot of the reason behind that.
Did he go?
Again, yes, he did.
Yep, he did. That's the end of Venable and the end of the inning for the Padres. Jimenez hitting 101 in the first and ends up striking out the side. 2 left to board.
Top of the second, no score. Hey, let's take a look at today's keys to the game, brought to you by Suzuki. First, we talk about the stealing. Stop the stealing of the Padres, and then which pitcher falters. Both of them right now are on the top of their game, and then fundamentals, because it is going to be a low-scoring ball game. So who is able to advance their runner, bunt him over when he has to? If there's a guy out there in scoring position, maybe a sac fly. All those little things will add up to a victory, and the team that provides that will get the W.
Took something off, and Carlos Gonzalez was out front. Cargo the last few games has hit either 5th, where he is tonight, or 3rd. First 15 starts of the year, he was in the leadoff role. Pitch misses at 91.
Well, Jim Tracy said it was just a different look that he wanted in the way he constructs his lineup, and that's the reason why Todd Helton was back in the 3rd spot and Carlos Gonzalez had slid back to the 5th spot.
Inside, good eye. 2-1 on Cargo. 2 for 12 in that San Francisco series. The Rockies won yesterday 4-1 behind just a tremendous effort from Yolis Chacin, who went 7 innings, did not allow a run, allowed only 1 hit in his first major league victory. That's exactly what the Rockies needed. They scratched out 4 runs, did not hit a ball over the wall in the 3 games at AT&T Park. Last year at Petco, the Rockies went 5-4. They've played well here, 28-27 all time since the facility was opened in 2004. They hit 8 home runs here in the 9 ball games. Here's the 3-1, and a good job by Carlos Gonzalez. Let's check in for the first time tonight with Alana Rizzo. Alana,
hey, Drew,
had
thanks.
a little R&R this weekend. You doing well?
I did. My friend got married on Saturday in Boulder, but it is nice to be back with you guys and nice to be back with the team. I wanted to talk a little bit more about Kevin Correa. You know, he's going for his 7th consecutive win this season, and he's doing it in a very quiet manner. I talked to Padres pitching coach Darren Balsley, and he said, you know what, he's a sneaky competitor, but he has a fire inside of him. He said he's one of the most low-maintenance pitchers that I've ever had to work with. He said, you know what, he has 5 different pitches that he throws all for strikes, and he's not the type of guy that gets on the hill and overwhelms you. But he said his special blend of pitches makes it really tough for opponents to figure him out. He does what he's asked to do, and he's one of Balsley's favorite guys. Drew?
Well, he's a pro, is what he is. And Alana, last year he made 33 starts. He was the only Padre pitcher to start more than 20 ball games, 198 innings. And Miguel Olivo takes the ball. 2 very aggressive hitters for the Rockies. Carlos Gonzalez walked just a moment ago for the 4th time. That's it this year. And of course, Miguel Olivo walks every time Haley's Comet flies through. Cargo's 4 of 6 swiping bases. Dexter Fowler leading the club. He's 5 of 7.
Well, your Vittorial for the year is 4 for 8, throwing out base stealers, and he only threw out 4 guys all of last year. He was 4 for 53 for the Rockies.
Yeah, I think believe it or not, the shoulder for Yorvid's getting a little bit better each year. I mean, the surgery a couple years ago. When he came up with the Giants, he threw very well. Gonzalez started to go and then shut it down. What's the times to the plate?
That last one was 1.25, and that's why Carlos started to take off, but he also slipped a little bit. Watch the jump he gets and watch that foot slide out from underneath him. Did the wise thing and shut it down. That's just from being out there enough and realizing, you know what, even if I feel like I got the jump, if something's not right, shut it down, because I can still get back to first rather than being thrown out by 5 steps.
Good swing, Olivo on that fastball. 1-2.
Well, so far, Correa has been 1.21 to the plate, 1.25, and that last one was 1.28. So those are all timing mechanisms that Carlos Gonzalez over at first base has in his mind. He, believe it or not, 8-9 of a second, you know which one is much quicker, one which is slower as a base runner.
Correa last year 12-11 with a 3.91 ERA. Fans, feed your baseball fever at Taco Bell. If Colorado scores 7 or more during any game, go to Taco Bell the next day between 4 and 6 and get 4 tacos with the purchase of a medium drink, all for $1. Pitch out, nothing on.
Carlos is really studying Richie Dower hard over at third base. Giving a little peek in to see maybe if something's going to be going on. Sometimes the catcher will give it away and what they're going to do. No breaking pitch here, but it's also a good pitch to try to run on. How they changed it up.
Now a new set of signs will come Correa's way. Correa is a San Diego native. Went to Grossmont High School. And this ball's popped foul, and Adrian Gonzalez seeing if he has a play. And that's the second one that's just out of the reach of a corner infielder into the stands tonight.
Well, and also right where he had to go try to catch that ball, it comes out to a little bit of a point, so he got locked up. And this is the area I'm talking about right here, folks, is that part, if the ball would have been right there, he could have gone and probably reached it, but he had to go back just a little bit more where it jetted out about 2 or 3 feet.
2-2 on Olivo, and another throw checking on Gonzalez. Olivo didn't work yesterday. I mean, he worked. He worked out, he hit, did all those things. You know what I mean. He wasn't behind the plate. Paul Phillips caught the ball game yesterday. Paul did a terrific job. There goes Gonzalez. It's fouled off.
Oh, it was nice for Miguel to get that full day off, just to kind of clear the mind a little bit offensively. And that the toll of catching, not only getting beat up by the pitches that are in the dirt, but also mentally, okay, he's got to be into each and every pitch, recognize swings. Are they going to throw a fastball, curveball, all those different things? And a lot of times it's just a nice break for the catchers. You had the day game on Saturday, another day game on Sunday. So really it's been 48 hours of rest for Miguel. There's Paul Phillips.
Gonzalez going again, and a base hit to right center field. Cargo will go first to third, and 2 on, nobody out for the Rockies. Good at bat for Miguel Olivo.
Well, it was, because he didn't try to overpower the ball and try to pull it. He had seen so many times where they were trying to pitch him. They knew where they were playing him. 4th strike zone shows that ball was out. I mean, almost every single one of those were away. Gonzalez gets a good jump, sees where the ball is hit, and realize that he can go first to third easily.
So Ian Stewart with a great opportunity to give the Rockies an early lead. One on Stewart.
As usual in San Diego, Ian's dad's in town for the series. Chance to chat with him today at the hotel lobby.
They split time between Orange County and Mexico, and Ian spent a lot of time in Mexico where the Stewarts have a place, fishing and hanging out by the water growing up. And that was Nick Stewart's swing there, 0-2.
And that's just got really a feel for the ball type of swing. It wasn't the aggressive, I see it, I'm going to go and attack it. That was one where he just kind of waved at it. Now you got to buckle down.
Yeah, these are the at-bats that
goes back to the keys that I was talking about, the fundamentals. You have an opportunity to set the tone right now.
Get it in play. And Correa is not a big strikeout pitcher typically.
Well, you think back already this year, in 28 innings, he has less than a strikeout per inning. So, yeah, he's not going to be. You can look away. If they throw you something in or down and in, then you can pull it into the hole. But look away. Don't try to overpower the ball. Hit it to the left center field gap if you're a left-handed hitter in this situation.
He's actually striking out more this year, at least in the early going, than he typically does.
But yeah,
he struck out more than 100 in a season once. He's worked out of the bullpen last year, 142 in 198 innings. So, you know, that's about average.
Yeah, but you still, anytime there's less strikeouts and innings pitched, even though by it's a couple, it's really not a strikeout type of guy compared to what Ubaldo's been able to do.
Yeah, he gets the strikeout on Stewart. And now, with Olivo at first, Correa's thinking, if I can get a ball on the ground, I can get out of this without any damage. Let's take a look at the Breaks Plus Take a Break poll of the game. Text your answers as always to 95323. Does the National League West have the strongest starting pitching? We assume the question has to do with baseball, so not just the National League, but the American League. And if you agree, you think yes, then vote. Then text Rocks 1, no, Rocks 2. And you get a $15 oil change for participating, or $50 off mileage maintenance service over $100. And Barmes fouls it back. You have Jimenez on deck. So, you know, that at bat for Stewart was a huge one, hitting out of the 7-hole. Correa's thinking, man, I get Barmes. Even if I don't get one on the ground, I have the pitcher batting ninth. That's in there. It's 0-2. I was about to ask you. Now it doesn't matter. Would you squeeze with one strike early in a game with Jimenez?
Sure.
With Jimenez on the hill and on deck.
Yes, I would. I mean,
and
now, obviously
struggling
not
at the
now.
plate. Not now, obviously, but I was thinking, you know, you have the element of surprise. Barmes does bunt very, very well. Obviously, Clint has not hit his stride offensively. He's at 197.
Low scoring ball game, low scoring ballpark.
Yep.
And you got your stud on the hill.
If Olivo, if they put him in motion here, it'd be dangerous with the pitcher on deck.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it just in case you had that strikeout throw out.
This ball is roped, and it is a fair ball into the corner. Olivo around third. He's coming home. He'll score. And it's 2-0 Colorado behind in the count. Clint Barmes comes through with a rope down the left field line. Boy, that has to feel good for Barmes, because it has been a struggle lately.
9 RBIs now on the season for Clint Barmes, 6 double as well. Tried to go inside, or outside, excuse me, and the ball went back inside. You see on the forward strike zone, went down, and Clint stayed through the ball, and that allowed that one to just stay fair by about 6 inches down the left field line. How big was that?
That was enormous. Jimenez at the plate, who has already driven in a run this year. Jimenez swung the bat better and better each season. Boy, you have to feel good for number 12. Good swing.
Well, it's all about picking up your teammates. And that's what Clint had to do in that situation. He had to pick up Ian Stewart. Ian left some runners out there, didn't have a very good at bat, kind of waved at a few balls, but Clint Barmes picked him up in big time sort of way and hit the mistake from Correa.
And now, because of that hit, in all likelihood, you're going to get Smith to the plate with a runner in scoring position.
you've put San Diego in a hole, something that they weren't in or have not been in for a long time, especially against the Brewers. They shut out the Brewers 3 times. They only gave up 2 home runs. That's how the Brewers scored their runs.
And one of them, this is a swinging bunt. So Smith will come up with 2 outs and Barmes at third.
And fans purchase a green pack and help out the environment while enjoying a day at the ballpark. These games are available May 10th, 11th, and the 16th. You get 2 tickets for $20 with $5 going towards planting trees for our 26 Games of Green initiative. Go to coloradorockies.com/green to purchase your green pack today.
Seth Smith fouled out to third his first time up. Barmes at third, 2-0 Colorado, top of the 2nd inning. And that's in there for a strike. You're talking about the 3 shutouts in 4 ball games against Milwaukee. Consider this, folks. The 2 runs scored. Giovanni Gallardo, one of the home runs. He's a pitcher. And then Ricky Weeks hit a home run. That you expect because Weeks has a lot of power. 3 shutouts of the Milwaukee Brewers, the highest scoring team in the National League coming in.
Braun, Fielder, McGee. I mean, that goes on and on and on. But just what San Diego's been able to do really in the last 5 series.
This ball pulled to first, and Gonzalez will run to the bat. In the inning, Clint Barmes coming through with a 2-run double behind in the count to give Ubaldo Jimenez a 2-0 advantage. Well, this replay is brought to you by the Colorado Lottery. Ubaldo Jimenez in the top of the 1st inning on 3 pitches struck out Gwynn. He struck out Gonzalez, and he would get Venable as well. Now until June 30th. Replay any of your non-winning scratch tickets and a second chance drawing. Enter your tickets at coloradolottery.com. Scott Hairston, 271 average, 4 home runs, 10 driven in. He's behind 0-1. He's behind 0-2. Ubaldo threw 20 pitches in that 1st inning. And I'm with you with his fastball. Throw the fastball. There's another 100-mile-an-hour fastball. I think that's his 4th triple-digit fastball of the game already in 23 pitches. 1 in the 1st inning, went 101 miles an hour. I mean, until they can catch up, don't slow it up. Foul ground, help, not have a play, or we'll leave it.
Yeah, I've been in the box when guys are going. I've never faced anyone that threw 100, but a couple guys 97, 98 miles an hour. I don't care how early you start your swing or where you think it's going to be. It's still pretty difficult to do. You have less than a blink of an eye to try to start your swing no matter where it's at. And then even if you do square it up, sometimes it's not going to go anywhere because you're sitting there going, you're just hoping you're able to hit it.
Change up. The only reason Hairston didn't swing at that is I think he was fooled by it. 2-2. It's good location with that changeup. Hairston is a good fastball hitter. And he punches it to right. This goes to the corner. Gonzalez may have a play at second. The throw on its way and not quite in time. A leadoff double for Hairston.
Well, just a ball that was up. If this ball's down, he won't be able to drive it to right field. Toward strike zone, you can see how much that ball was up and out over the plate, and that allowed him just to drag the bat just a little bit and hit it down the right field line.
Here's Torrealba, who used to catch Jimenez, a Rocky the last 4 years. Rockies took 2 of 3 from San Diego. Padres were in town's 2nd series of the year and opened up Coors Field in 2010. Roivit now has played for 3 of the 5 teams in the NL West. Came up with the Giants, the Rockies, now the Padres. 2-0.
Kind of starting to work his way into a starting role here for the Padres. You mentioned how much he's been playing of late.
Shattered bat and a tough chance for Tulowitzki, and he makes it. Runner was going with the pitch. He would have crossed over anyhow. So Hairston at third with 1 out. Take a look at our Excel Energy fun fact. This to me is another amazing stat. Look at this. In the last 50 years, there have been 5 pitchers to start a season 5-0 or better with a sub-1 ERA. Zach Greinke last year, Cy Young. Cliff Lee a couple years ago, Cy Young. Randy Johnson, Cy Young. Fernando Valenzuela, Cy Young. Ubaldo Jimenez, well, we put question marks up. We'll see. Did you know that you could sign up for an in-home energy audit and learn simple ways to save around your house from Excel Energy? Visit responsiblebynature.com to learn more. Lance Zawatsky at the plate. His first big league hit yesterday. And he hits this ball in the air. Here comes Fowler. Hairston is going to bluff.
Wise move.
Wise move, because Dexter's not just one of those center fielders, Huey, that runs real well and can shag down anything in the gap. He throws the ball well also.
Well, what also helped was the way that ball was hit. He had all his momentum going forward, going towards the plate. So he was able to get that momentum, catch it, and in one motion really get rid of the ball. That ball was hit off the end of the bat. He thought it had a chance to drop in. Dexter closed ground, a little crow hop, and let it fly. 1 hop to home. Hairston would have been out by about 10 feet.
Now Kevin Correa with 2 outs. Jimenez had a great chance to get out of it. Just can't lose his focus here with Correa hitting .222. He's driven in a couple runs this year. That fastball at 99. Boy, Jimenez has good command of the heater. Over the outside corner at 100. They don't get cute
number
here.
5.
Yeah.
That's number 5 to triple digits. Don't get cute. Go right back out there again.
Well, it's interesting. Last year, Ubaldo hit 126 times. Second to Broxton in baseball. And that is strike 3 at 99. Correa is gone on 3 pitches. So Hairston reached third, and then Ubaldo put up the stop sign. 2-0. We'll go to the third. Colorado Rockies baseball on FSN is brought to you by AT&T. Find out what's possible with the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, rethink possible. By Brakes Plus. Brakes Plus, a whole lot more. By the Courtyard by Marriott on the 16th Street Mall. Call 303-571-1114 and ask about our hometown sports package. And by Hyundai. Hyundai was just named the most fuel-efficient car maker in America. Visit your Colorado Hyundai dealers today. Beautiful San Diego with Jeff Houston and Alana Rizzo. I'm Drew Goodman. Rockies here for 3 ball games. Thursday's an off day in Tinseltown. I think Esmil Rogers and Yoli Chassin are like us. They're kind of shaking his head saying, man, that is unbelievable how hard our teammate throws, huh?
But they can also learn from him, too. The way he's been able to spot that fastball for the most part. Got the 1 pitch up to Hairston that he hit. But even though you don't have the 99, the 90, the 100, 101, whatever a ball those showing, you can still spot the fastballs on the outside part of the corner. We saw it from Yolis yesterday, the way he was able to do that to get to your secondary pitches. You can learn something watching other guys throw the baseball.
You and I were chatting briefly during the commercial break. It's effortless. It's not like the Steffi Graf grunting to get it up to. I mean, even if you did have to grunt to get it to 101, that's okay. This ball is lifted to left center field, hit pretty well, and the catch is made by Hairston. He avoided the collision with Gwynn. Dexter Fowler gave that one a ride. 1 out. That'll bring up Todd Helton, and it takes us to our Geico quote of the day. San Diego native, the splendid splinter, Ted Williams. If I was being paid $30,000 a year, the very least I could do was hit 400. And of course the question beckons, what on earth would they pay him today?
Oh. Well, he would have to get more than, what's A-Rod making, $30 million a year?
Isn't that 33?
Is it 33? I lost track of a couple million, I'm sorry.
1-1 on Helton.
Bobby Cox say that Albert Pujols should get $50 million a year. Then Ted Williams has got to be right up there, right?
Maybe Bobby, because they're starting to talk obviously to Albert about an extension supposedly. Maybe Bobby, who's still got a contract with Atlanta to work in the front office, maybe he wants a little bit of a kickback with percentage to help him out. This ball roped up the middle by Helton, and Todd aboard with 1 out. And Jim Tracy was talking about Helton in the 3-hole. He was asked by a reporter today, would Trace keep shuffling him around, and he said, you know what, I'm figuring Todd's about to get hot, and when he gets hot, we're not moving him anyway.
His last 2 base hits have been right back up the middle. The line drive on Saturday, his last at bat in San Francisco, almost the same identical swing, same result. Didn't play yesterday, but now in the second at bat here, hits another line drive up the middle.
And this pitch is swatted foul. Tulowitzki drove one down the left field line that had home run distance and was fouled by about 7-8 feet his first time up on a 2-0 pitch, and then he hit a little pop to third. Rockies got 2 last inning. Gonzalez walked, Olivo singled, and then Barmes on a 1-2 pitch lined a double to the left field corner, scoring both. And this is chopped to third. One play, and that's the first for Headley. So Helton's at scoring position for Carlos Gonzalez.
Yeah, they just read it off the bat that he just didn't even feel like he had a play at second base. Be interesting to see how they go after and attack Carlos this at bat with first base open. I know Miguel had a base hit last time, but just to see if they try to throw him some soft stuff or maybe really elevate that fastball so he'll try to chase outside the zone.
I thought, and he will do that from time to time, especially as a lot of hitters, a lot of power hitters above their hands a little bit. I thought he showed pretty good discipline, Jeff, didn't you, in that first AB?
He did. And that's what allowed him to get that walk, that he was able to lay off a couple high pitches, check his swing even on the last one. But that's still the one little area that he could still try to improve on just a little bit. But you don't want to take away his aggressiveness either. I mean, there's that fine line you try to walk. Okay, the first 2 pitches have been up in the zone, much like I thought they would try to attack him. Well, they got 2 options. Try to elevate that fastball again up into that 4th strike zone at the top part, or go something soft down into the zone.
Helton at second, 2 outs.
They're going to go up in the zone.
Strike 3. That's a good pitch by Correa. Helton left at second. We'll go to the bottom of the 3rd. Rockies 2, Padres nothing. This date in history is brought to you as always by Dex One, Marketing Solutions Business Results. Well, after being sidelined at the start of the season, Joe DiMaggio makes his much-anticipated Major League debut. The 21-year-old rookie collected 3 hits, including a triple, and scored 3 runs back in 1936. Tony Gwynn, the leadoff hitter for the Padres, struck out on 3 pitches his first time up. In fact, he never moved the bat. Look out. He moved the bat there, but he had to move his feet. 1-1. Bat And Huey, tell me if you found that more effective in unsettling you when you were in the batter's box, one down below your knees as opposed to one where you had to fall over because it was up shoulder high.
Yeah, the only other one was up by your head, but those get you thinking a little bit.
That's a changeup at 88.
100-mile-an-hour fastball and then a changeup with good movement right at the top of the zone. Gwynn didn't think so, but that caught it. And remember, that top of the zone, once again, folks, is from about 2 baseball above the belt.
In the air to center field. Dexter Fowler will have an easy play. 1 out. Well, this is an interesting graphic. I know we talk about how hard somebody throws quite frequently, especially when Ubaldo's out there, and it's not all about velocity. But if you have an average fastball close to 97 miles an hour, which is tops in baseball. He was tops among starters in baseball last year. Verlander, Johnson, Felix Hernandez, Brad Penny, 1 through 5. And that's the thing. I mean, he maintains his velocity throughout a ball game. I mean, his last pitch in the no-hitter was a 97-mile-an-hour fastball that chewed up the bat of Brian McCann.
And to me, that's what separates, I want to say that the 4 of the 5 guys on that list. Brad Penny, I think, drops off after that. But the other guys, Verlander, Johnson, Felix Hernandez, all those guys, they're able to maintain it late into the ball game.
Yeah, I was actually surprised at this stage of his career. Brad's throwing the ball very well, but I was surprised that Penny was on that list.
That was shocking for me because I thought of Brad Penny at one time, 95, 96 miles an hour. But I didn't see him as that guy anymore that could even get it up there to 94 miles an hour. He usually seemed to me work right at 90, 91, maybe touch 92, but not that hard.
That's just off the plate. 3-1 on David Eckstein. The one poor pitch, at least in selection, that Jimenez has made in this game was on Eckstein, who,
well,
that's what I mean.
Shows you right there.
He threw the curveball and hit him in his first at bat.
And I kind of laugh, but I laugh because that's what a pitcher Ubaldo is, can make a major league hitter look so silly on a swing.
Ground ball to first, Helton with the fine hands. You know, Todd is not as quick at 36 as he was when he came to the big leagues in late '97, but his positioning and his hands are as good as ever. Hey fans, if you'd like to receive notification when Colorado scores 7 or more runs for the Feed Your Fever Taco Bell offer, all you have to do is text the keyword taco to 95323. Adrian Gonzalez struck out his first time, and he fouls that pitch off.
94 miles an hour, trying to figure out what that pitch was. Adrian Gonzalez is shaking his head too. Is that a changeup, fastball? I don't know.
One thing about big league hitters, Huey, you've told me this, that you can never escape your batting average because these beautiful ballparks, and it's plastered everywhere, and it's larger than life. Well, you also can't escape the MPH, how hard a guy threw. So to your point a moment ago, Adrian fouls that pitch off, and he's looking up there and he's going 94. Well, yeah, that's a really good fastball. But for this kid, what was that? Because his fastball's been averaging about 99 today.
Yeah, and his slider is 90 miles an hour. So what was that at 94? A pitch that he got off to the side a little bit? As a hitter, I'm thinking, oh, I'm in trouble.
That slider's in there at 89. Two outs, nobody on, 2-2 count on the perennial all-star Adrian Gonzalez. What a fine hitter he is. Splitter, and Gonzalez is gone. A 92-mile-an-hour splitter. Hadn't shown that yet today.
Oh, just broke it out right there. Get the strikeout.
5 punch outs for Jimenez. 2-0 Colorado. Rockies up 2-0. Ubaldo Jimenez has allowed just a couple of hits, and he has 5 punch-outs through 3 innings. We go to the top of the 4th inning. Time for our AT&T trivia question. Jimenez is the second pitcher in Major League history to win 5 or more games and throw a no-hitter in April. Can you name the other pitcher? Rockies will begin the 4th with Miguel Olivo, who singled and scored in the 2nd inning. The RBIs belonging tonight to Clint Barmes. His 8th and 9th ribbies of the year. A 2-run double against Kevin Correa. And a big curveball. That's what we were talking about off the top, Huey, with Correa. Any one of his 5 pitches in any count.
And that's what it's very difficult as a hitter, because you go up there, you've seen the slider, you've seen the changeup, and now he throws a get me over curveball first pitch to you. And truly, that's been the transformation for Correa, is to be able to do those sorts of things where it's not always just a hard pitch to start with. It's not always a hard slider or a hard fastball. We can throw the off-speed pitches.
And the slider is hit hard, but Eckstein was positioned perfectly. Well, today's Fast Cash Sideline Report is brought to you by Fast Cash Gold Centers, where you'll always get 40% more for your gold. Alana Rizzo has more. Alana?
Thank you very much, Drew. Now, the Padres pitching staff has pitched 42 scoreless innings in the last 45 frames. It's something you guys were alluding to earlier. And I talked to their pitching coach, Darren Balsley, about their 5-person rotation. He said, you know what? We didn't get any credit at the beginning of the season because nobody thought we had that so-called ace of the staff. He said, any 5 of my guys could be an ace on any given day. He said they all have different types of pitches, and because of that, the competition has a tough time figuring them out. They each complement one another. He said it's hard for the competition to get into a flow when we face any one of our guys. He said they all want to outdo one another. The guy that's pitching today wants to outdo the guy that was pitching last night, guys.
David Eckstein throws out Ian Stewart. Thanks, Alana. 2 outs, nobody on. A moment ago, you saw Clayton Richard, the big left-hander out of the University of Michigan. He's throwing the ball very well. He's got front of the rotation stuff.
Well, he's 94, 95 miles an hour from the left side, and he's the guy they got in the Jake Peavy deal with the White Sox. But you also have a guy like John Garland, who's been an all-star to me, to kind of lead this team.
Yeah, and Garland's throwing the ball great. Garland was on the hill yesterday.
You know, you can have guys that want to follow one another, but they also need a leader. You need somebody that's been there, has experience, understands the ups and downs, because you still got a couple young kids in the rotation.
Well, the Padres have one of the 2 lowest payrolls in baseball. This replay brought to you by the Colorado Lottery. In the 2nd inning, Clint Barmes behind in the count, and 2-seamer came too far in, and that's where Barmes will do a lot of damage. 2-run double for Barmes. And a reminder, from now until June 30th, replay any of your non-winning scratch tickets in a second chance drawing. Do it at coloradolottery.com. Barmes did a good job. That's a pitch that throughout his career he has struggled with.
It just cannot lay off. It doesn't recognize it. And it is a difficult pitch because it's a hard slider down and away. It looks like a fastball coming out of the hands. They're going to go right back out there again.
And 1-2-3 inning for Correa. Middle of 4, the Rockies leading 2-0 at Petco. Rockies leading 2-0, bottom of the 4th inning. Drew Goodman, Jeff Hewson, and Alana Rizzo. We're all watching that man throw. And who's the only other pitcher besides Ubaldo to win 5+ games and throw a no-no in April? Chase Headley takes a curveball, ball 1. Headley has one of the 2 hits tonight for San Diego. Jack Morris in 1984 with the Tigers. They started 35-5 that year. And of course, they went on to win the World Series. He's the only other pitcher to start 5-0 in April and also throw a no-hitter.
He was no fun to hit against.
He won a lot of ball games, didn't he?
Split. Oh.
That's on the corner. I think that was a change up. That was at 90.
Yeah. Maybe a backdoor, a slider that backed up. I don't know, either one. 90 mile an hour. It had movement. Ouch.
Splitter in the dirt. Miguel bounce out of his crouch. 2-2. Larry Vanover working behind home plate. Remember the splitter that he struck out Adrian Gonzalez with a splitter. Now there's the grip. There's Adrian at the plate.
What a great shot that is, because it shows how wide he's able to get those fingers and work outside of the seams. And all he does is he throws it like a fastball. Doesn't try to put any extra torque or anything on. He just throws it and it comes out of the hand like that.
Yep. And that. Honestly, that's hard to tell. That's what Aaron Cook says. That's hard to tell. Was that the circle change or was that a splitter? Because it moved away.
I think it was a splitter that he just turned over onto his wrist a little bit on that one. Got off to the side and just pulled it and pulled with a little more with the forefinger.
6 strikeouts. Here's Will Venable. He struck out on a check swing his first time up with runners at first and third. Ground ball in the hole, base hit.
Will says, I'm not waiting around.
No, it's not a guy you want to get deep in the count with. Well, we asked Ubaldo Jimenez during spring training about his favorite place to pitch other than home.
The first thing is that the stadium is so big. Like you don't have to be scared of throwing the ball just in the middle of the plate, because you know, if they hit it, they're gonna have to hit it very hard so they can get him out of the stadium. And the other thing is the weather. Like the ball feels so good in your hand.
Well, Ubaldo was talking obviously about Petco enjoying pitching here. Hairston fouls it off, and you can't make enough about the last statement he made, can you, Huey? You know this as an infielder because there's moisture here.
Right, and you're able to grab the baseball, and it just feels good when it's on your fingertips. Sometimes when you're playing at high altitude or Denver where there's not as much moisture, the ball is real slick, and it just feels like it kind of shoots out of your hand a little bit.
Well, that was interesting. You know what? Venable started for second and then stopped, and he would have had the bag easily because Jimenez went to the plate. Now watch Venable. He's gone, and he's like, man, I went way too early.
Yeah. But in that instance, sometimes you just go ahead and take off because you're guessing in how long he's going to hold the ball before he goes home. Venable does have 6 stolen bases on the year and has not been caught yet.
He's a big, good-looking athlete. This his dad, Max, played. We've told the story many times. Will Venable was a 2-sport star at Princeton. Basketball player, and that was his first love. That's where his focus was initially. He started again, and now snap throw to first, safe.
But that throws down a little bit. Todd's able to make that swipe tag just a little bit better. One more time now. The high fastball ties up Hairston, and then the throw down to first to try to get Venable because he had taken off on that false break again. Todd with the swipe tag. Didn't look like he even was able to get him, but that's 2 times now in a row he's done the same thing.
And when you did that, you just kept going.
I just kept going.
Okay. Here's Torrey Alba, and he takes a strike at 98.
Yeah, because you're guessing as a base runner how long, and pitchers like to deliver the ball home within 2 seconds. So if he's held it that long, then if you feel like you take off, just keep going.
Yeah, he did that time, and Miguel Olivo won't venture to throw.
Well, 3rd time's a charm. I mean, really, he's tried to do it and then stopped twice. This time he said, forget it, I'm just going to keep going. Wise idea. to not even throw that. 30th stolen base now as a team for the San Diego Padres, which, as we mentioned earlier, is first in the major leagues.
Now, my question for you now is the converse. It happened 3 times. Should he not step off the back? Somebody let him go. Hey, took off, even if he doesn't see him peripherally. That's in there 1 and 2 at 100.
Or just throw over there maybe once, just to keep him honest. But if you see a guy go like that and you feel like the pitcher's right in the middle, yeah, you want to yell step off, but at the same time, it can cause a balk.
Into dirt. Good block by Oliva. It's 2 and 2 on Torrealba. In 3 of the 4 innings, even though Jimenez has been dominant, 3 of the 4 innings, the Padres have had a runner in scoring position, first and third in the first. Hairston a leadoff double in the second. And now Venable with 2 outs at second base. 2 and 2 on Torrealba. See you later. Ooh, boy, that's a pitch that I think Ubaldo thought was in the strike zone. Larry Vanover got a good strike zone, didn't buy it, and
it was a strike. Just kind of the way Miguel caught it, just a little bit going away, but that was a strike. It was right where all the other pitches were.
And the fastball's fouled off. Jimenez wants to get Torrealba. You do have the luxury, if somehow he were to lose Torrealba, it's 3 and 2, of the kid on deck, Lance Zawatsky, who just called up from AAA 48 hours ago.
Yeah, but I'd like to start off next inning with him and followed up by the pitcher.
Yeah. Line drive to left, and that's going to end the shutout streak of Ubaldo Jimenez. It's a 2-1 ball game. So Torrealba, who caught Jimenez the last few years, rips a double down the left field line.
Fastball, the little leg kick from Yorvik Torrealba, and he just opened that front side up to try to clear his hips to get that bat through, and that's exactly what he was able to do, to drive it to left field and drive in Venable.
After 26 shutout innings, Ubaldo gives up a run, and the shame of it was that he gave up the stolen base to Venable, and you probably had the punch out on Torrealba. Now you got to refocus. Oliva's going to make sure exactly of that with Jimenez, with the tying run at second base.
Yeah, because if Will Venable had not stolen second base, then that would have been an interesting decision for Glenn Hoffman, the third base coach. So the way Seth got over there and played the ball, I don't think you could try to send him.
No, you know, that left field corner, that's tough, even with 2 outs and with good speed. That's as hard as that ball was hit. I'm surprised here. You have a young man at the plate, and the first 2 pitches to him are off-speed pitches.
Yeah, you were able to get him out on a fastball his first time up. Easy soft fly ball to center field. Really took the...
And that's 3 straight off-speed pitches out of the strike zone.
Yeah, I'm not understanding why they're going so soft with him. And he's not like he's a big power guy. I understand the pitcher's behind him, but if you could get this young man out and then have the pitcher lead off.
Now ball 4. That's the first walk allowed by Jimenez. And that'll bring up Correa. Hey, repair that chip in your windshield. Do it by calling Safelite Elite Auto Glass at 303-287-5000 or online at safelite.com. Correa looked at 3 fastballs his first time up, did not swing the bat. Well, I don't understand that either. I mean, that was That looked to be a slider.
Well, 71 pitches now for a ball, though, and look at this inning with 22 pitches and a lot more breaking pitches. That's four in a row now. Yeah, you got beat on the fastball inside the Torrealba, but then you had actually five in a row, because all the pitches to the 8-hole hitter, Zawadzki, were off-speed pitches.
Ball to short. Tulowitzki to Barnes, and that's the end of the Padres in the fourth. They get a run on a Torrealba double. 2-1 ball game. Colorado Rockies baseball on FSN is brought to you by Chase, introducing the 1% mortgage cash back. Chase, what matters? By Steel and your local Steel dealers. For a location nearest you, visit steeldealers.com. And by Hyundai. Hyundai was just named the most fuel-efficient car maker in America. Visit your Colorado Hyundai dealers today. Petco Park in beautiful San Diego. Rockies ahead 2-1. It almost always is a low-scoring affair here, save a few years back when the Rockies opened in San Diego and scored 32 runs in 3 ball games. Top of the 5th, Kevin Correa will face Ubaldo Jimenez. Fastball is down and in, ball 1. Rockies 2 runs on 3 hits. The Padres a run on 4 hits. This is a confident San Diego Padre team, what with their 16-9 start. It's the second best record in the National League to the Cardinals. They started the day at 17-9. And they're at 18-9 now because they won 6-3 earlier.
Kind of a light schedule against, they played Philadelphia today. 3 other games in the National League.
Two and 2. And 3 and 2. Yesterday's victory by the Rockies snapped a season-long 3-game slide.
But more importantly than that, it gave them a little confidence.
It did, but they're one of those stretches against the National League West where you need to play well. This is chopped to Headley.
Fans, for the best ticket values in the ballpark, you purchase 2010 Rockies season tickets or prorated mini plan packages. Most of these packages include Red Sox and fireworks games. These packages offer substantial savings and postseason opportunities. Call 303 Rockies or go online to coloradorockies.com to order yours today.
Seth Smith taking his time, getting to the box, allowing Ubaldo Jimenez to take his time, getting to the dugout and rest a little bit. So with 1 out, Seth Smith will look at Correa for the 3rd time. He fouled out to 3rd and hit a broken bat ground ball to Adrian Gonzalez at 1st. At the knees for a strike. The Padres have been so successful on the hill of late. They have that pass the baton feeling going. They were talking about it the last couple of days. John Garland. They just don't want to let the next guy down, or the last guy down, I should say. And so Correa takes it from Garland, and he has thrown a very good ball game so far.
Well, and your position players too, because they're sitting there going, okay, the pitchers are doing their job. We're scratching out a run here or there and just getting enough offense to win. And we've seen the Rockies do that in the past too, where you just feel like every time you go out there, you have an opportunity to win. You know your pitchers are going to do well. And that's a fun time to come to the ball yard, because those things don't happen all the time. And when you're in one of those situations, you're sitting there going, man, how are we going to win it today?
Goes to the breaking ball again. 2-2 on Smith.
We saw the pitch count for Ubaldo Jimenez on last inning. Correa, 77 total pitches, 48 strikes. Just about what he's done on the average so far this year.
And he changed the eye level. He went up top with a fastball, and he struck out Smith.
Everything had been down in that at bat to Seth Smith. Breaking pitches, even the first pitch of the at bat for Seth. Down in the zone, 4 strike zone, shows you where it is, and then all of a sudden you elevate it, your eyes light up as a hitter, but you can't catch up to it. It's not a strike, but you're so used to seeing everything down, 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 and then you go up, and you swing right through it.
Dexter Fowler hit the ball well in his first at bat, a sharp ground out to short, and then he hit it well in his second at bat, a line drive to left center field that was tracked down by Scott Hairston. See if he can find an opening.
He hit the ball pretty well to left center field.
Ball and 1 strike. Correa last year was 0-1 in 3 starts against the Rockies with a .565 ERA. This is his 9th career start against Colorado, his 27th career appearance. All-time 1-2 with a .366 ERA, and Dexter's looking for his first knock against Correa.
There's always one guy on a team that you sit there and you just have your struggles against.
Perfect example. I mean, you've seen him at 92, and then you've seen him with, you know, 2-seam movement at 87, 88.
But more importantly to me, this is as much movement as I've seen the Kevin Correa have on any sort of his pitches. We saw a hip side fastball that he was Greg Maddux like earlier to strike out Carlos Gonzalez. Just so much movement on the ball tonight.
Strike 3. Now Correa is on his game, trying to match up with Ubaldo Jimenez. Rockies up 2-1, middle of 5. Rockies leading 2-1 as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning, and it'll be the top of the order for the Padres. Tony Gwynn is 0 for 2, a strikeout and a fly ball to center field. David Eckstein and Adrian Gonzalez, and it's a big curveball, ball 1.
First pitch from Ubaldo tonight in the 70-mile-an-hour range. 77 on that last pitch.
And one of the rare times tonight he's fallen behind 2-0. He has filled up the strike zone for the most part. Now give the Padres credit. They've thrown out a couple of hits, and you got the big hit from Torey Alba to produce a run.
And a 2-out hit.
The 2-out hit when Ubaldo thought he had him struck out on the previous 2 pitches prior to the one he hit. And then it's 3-1. The Rockies have struggled to score runs since leaving Denver. Got 4 yesterday in the victory, but it was not as if they powdered the baseball all over the ballpark. Bases loaded, line single to right from Melvin Mora was the big blow.
Give a little bit of credit to the pitching on Friday and Saturday. I mean, Barry Zito threw outstanding, and Matt Cain on Saturday, or Barry Zito on Friday, Matt Cain on Saturday.
But that, you know what, Huey, that's this division. You cannot, you cannot, even now with San Diego, you cannot go to San Francisco, or even if they're at Coors Field, and expect that you're going to put up a big number. You're going to have to win 2-1, 3-2, 4-3 type of ball games more often than not.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's what this division has become, one of those type of divisions where you're going to have to scratch out and find and claw and scratch.
Especially when you're on the West Coast in these ballparks. on this California trip. I mean, they're all pitchers' paradises.
And especially at night. I mean, this is a 3-game set here. It's going to be tough to score a whole lot of runs.
And that's a walk. So Gwynn fouls off a couple of pitches, and he's at first, and he is a threat to run in a 1-run ball game. Time for tonight's Quest high-speed pitch. Ubaldo's hit 101. Kevin Correa, 93, is well above average. It's brought to you by Quest, the high-speed internet provider of the Colorado Rockies.
Well, not only the steal from Tony Gwynn, you got Eckstein at the plate who can hit and run as good as anybody. So Clint Barmas will not have coverage here. It'll be Troy that gets the coverage.
And you know what, that is the 4th time, 3 with Venable, 1 now with Gwynn, where they've left early, and that time Ubaldo did step off the bat.
Well, obviously the Padres feel like they have some sort of timing mechanism against Ubaldo, where they feel like, okay, if he doesn't come over, they're counting in their head 1001 or 1 Mississippi, however they want to do it, and then they're just going to take off. But you got to hold the ball, you got to step off, you got to slide step, do all the different things. There's a step off. Eckstein, the way he chokes up on the bat, that's why he has such good bat control. He's just going to try to shoot it to the right side.
Yeah, and that's why you made a great point. On your coverage, it's got to be, if Barmas is looking at Tulowitzki, all open mouth. I mean, it's got to be the shortstop's coverage.
It has to be. Even if it's a pitch inside, Eckstein's thinking, I've got to try to stay in it and try to hit it to the right side. So Clint's going to stay there, and Troy will have coverage.
This guy's a grinder at the plate. He went his first 51 at-bats of the year before striking out. He has punched out only twice all season in 85 at-bats. He is going to get it in play.
That was a good hit and run count, too. We talk about the open mouth, closed mouth type of thing, and that's what the shortstop and second basemen will relay to each other, who has coverage. Open mouth means you've got it.
Gwynn not going, and that pitch misses. It's 2-0. Ubaldo's thrown 82 pitches, and though his stuff is terrific, his secondary stuff has probably been average. His fastball's been terrific, but he has had some higher stress innings already because there have been some runners on base. This ball live, gloved by Stewart. That's a break. Allowed out, and that'll bring up Adrian Gonzalez.
Well, good thing Ian Stewart was awake, because that ball was lathered down third base. I'm sure, I wasn't thinking that David Eckstein can pull the baseball off of Ubaldo. But now you got Adrian Gonzalez, who's 4 for 23 so far in his career with the 8 punch-outs at the plate and has not looked good tonight. See if they send Gwynn on this first pitch.
Struck out Gonzalez with a fastball his first time up and a splitter his second time up. Gwynn not going, and that pitch misses, ball 1. Gwynn 5 of 6 in the stolen base department.
Notice Gwynn's right foot, how it's open just a little bit more and basically behind. That helps you get turned to go to second base faster.
Did you do that? Did you employ that?
Yes, I did. Just turn that right foot maybe a little bit about 45 and then drop your right foot just a little bit more, and that helps you to drive off that left leg and get turned quicker to go to second.
Baldo's not going to throw it here. He's just going to wait out Gwynn.
And just think of pivoting on that foot to get it turned to go. He has that left foot turned in a little bit to give him like a runner's block.
That's a strike also. 1-2. The 3-hole hitter, Adrian Gonzalez. Yesterday he had his first day off of the season. And a
run.
Pinch hit late.
Run him here, Drew.
Well, it's a count normally you'd think about it, 1-2. And if I'm Bud Black, it's more if Gwynn gets the right jump, I would, because even if there's a punch out at the plate, if you're successful, you have Headley coming up. If you're not, strike him out, throw him out, let's say. You have Headley leading off.
So what? And you're only down by
a run. Yeah.
And you still have some innings to play with.
Plus, I think, and Jim Tracy employs this, I think you beat good pitchers by being aggressive and taking every opportunity to help your offense, because you're not going to sit back and hit a 3-run home run typically against a top shelf starter.
You can already see how the game's kind of slowed down this inning with the runner on.
No movement, and Gonzalez is gone on a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. The trifecta now for Gonzalez. Jimenez with his 8th punch out, and there are 2 gone.
A fastball that just runs up and away from Gonzalez. Baldo saved some of his best pitches in this ball game for Gonzalez.
The great ones do that, though, don't they?
They elevate their game, and they understand that Gonzalez is their most feared hitter in the lineup.
And Headley hit the ball sharply for a single up the middle his first time up, and then he was fanned in the 4th. Headley was their top prospect a few years ago, and is swinging the bat a little bit better each season. He had his best year in 2009.
To me, he's more comfortable because he's in his natural position back at third base.
Old left field last year.
You know, they had Kevin Kuzminoff playing there, the evergreen product. He was traded to Oakland.
Brought Scott Hairston back. Hairston was with the Padres, went to Oakland, and then they brought him back in the offseason for Kuzminoff, among other. Good pitch.
And now Headley has the opportunity to go back to a position that he played growing up as a kid. Been more comfortable there.
At Fountain Fort Carson, he was a shortstop on a pro ball. Moved to third base, started his college career at University of Pacific, then went on to Tennessee. Gwynn moving here. He is. Swung on a miss. Miguel Olivo's throw tails into center field, and Gwynn is going to go to third. A stolen base and an error on Olivo.
Miguel's first error of the season. That front foot just didn't get close. I'm talking about Miguel Olivo's. It was pointing more towards shortstop, tried to throw back to second base, and that ball just ran on him about 10 feet on the wrong side of second base.
Yeah, it's a shame because Miguel knows he had a great opportunity to get Gwynn.
Miguel now 7 for 13, throwing out runners on the year.
Well, Jimenez has to pick him up. He's got to get Headley. He's ahead 1-2. And this ball is gloved by Barmes. It was not hit hard. And Clint Barmes, shading up the middle, got the great break. And the tying run will be left at third base. We'll move on to the 6th. 2-1 Colorado. Tonight's E470 Road Ahead is brought to you by E470. Quick, easy, and available to anyone. Test drive it today. 2 more in San Diego, all here on FSN Rocky Mountain. Thursday is an off day, and then 3 in Los Angeles. First time the Rockies will see the Dodgers this year. Andre Heath, you're off to a great start. Rockies need some offense against Kevin Correa. Todd Helton is 1 for 2 in the ball game, though he's been on base twice. He reached in the first inning on an error by Torrealba. Helton hit it out in front of the plate. Torrealba couldn't pick up the baseball. And a single up the middle last time for Todd. 1 ball and 1 strike. Rockies have been held to 3 hits. Helton single. Olivo had a single, and Barmes a 2-run double in the second. On the outside corner. You know who Correa reminds me of tonight? He reminds me of when Greg Maddux was throwing. Seriously.
Sure.
I mean, he's had that kind of movement. He's had great command. He's actually, at times throwing harder than Maddux threw in his career. Obviously, Maddux did it start after start, but Correa has been on his game.
Well, even his motion is kind of similar, where he comes up over his head and kind of does all the things, a little bit of a leg kick, and then he'll throw the baseball. Very economical so far for Correa.
Helton read that breaking ball and he fouled it off.
You see the way he kind of waited just for a second. He saw it, kept those hands back, even though that front might have got out just a little bit. Still, he saw it good enough that those hands. One more look. See, waits, and then at the last second, changes his body positioning just a little bit to try to hit that curveball the other way.
And that chop foul. It's all about early identification, isn't it?
That's what separates the great hitters from the good hitters and the guys that are playing down in the minors. The ability to recognize a pitch quicker than the next guy. I mean, that's truly what it is, because then you can. The mechanics of a swing are pretty similar between all the guys, but who recognizes it quicker and is able to get to it and make an adjustment.
Let's pop up for Zawatsky. Makes the catch, 1 out. Let's take a look at the Mika hit zone on Troy Tulowitzki. A lot of places where he's done damage, and he hasn't gotten hot yet. He'd be the first to tell you that.
No, I was doing a radio interview today with people back in Denver, and that was one of the questions about Troy. I said, folks, he's hitting over 300. Those, don't worry about the home runs. They'll come. He'll end up with his 25 or 30 by the end of the year when he really starts to get that power stroke. But so many times he's been having to play uphill because his average coming out of April is low 200s and 190s, that area. So he's getting his hits in multi-hit games too.
That to me, I agree with you. That's the good news. The fact that he's getting his hits. He's driven in 13, and he hasn't gotten hot yet. For each Colorado hit from now through the end of the season, Amica Insurance will donate $10 to the Boys and Girls Club of Denver. Thank you, Amica. Here's the 2-0. Looked like a little cut fastball. 2-1. First career home run for Troy Tulowitzki in this yard. Late in the season in 2006 against the now retired Woody Williams. Well, if my memory's right, I think he hit over the center field wall.
He crushed it. It was off of Woody Williams. Tried to run that sinking fastball that he did and stayed flat in the zone.
.32 big flies last year for Tulowitzki. 2-2 count with 1 out and nobody on. That's a pitch he likes. That's a pitch that's hard to hit, but Troy, when he's in a good groove, with that chest-high fastball, he gets on top of that a lot.
A lot of guys can't do it, and early on in his career, he couldn't do it. He had trouble getting swung and missed through that ball a lot, but he's found that zone now that he likes and goes to fire at it. And when you're able to get on top of a ball that's that high in the zone, you create the backspin, and those are the ones that you're able to hit out.
Ground ball, comeback. Joe Thatcher on the left side, and then Mejica on the right side.
Hey fans, join us for Military Appreciation Day on Sunday, May 30th. Arrive early for the Rockies' annual celebration of our brave men and women serving our country, complete with a flyover. All military personnel and veterans receive complimentary game tickets, and discounts for family and friends are also available. Don't forget, May 30th against the Dodgers. Call 303 Rockies for more information on Military Appreciation Day.
2 outs, nobody on. Carlos Gonzalez, a walk and strikeout. He was caught looking his last time up. This is back up the middle to short. He's going to finish the play. Correa has retired 11 in a row. 2-1 affair. Welcome back to the 6th inning. Time for the Coors Light Freeze Cam. Ubaldo Jimenez has been himself today. He's allowed just 1 run after 26 innings of shutout baseball. He has struck out 8 Padres as he goes to work here in the 6th inning. It'll be Will Venable, Scott Hairston, Yorvi Torrealba. That was the Frostbrewed Coors Light Freeze Can. Then his pitch count at 91, so you start thinking, all right, he has a quick inning. He's due up 4th next inning. He'll be on the plus side, you hope still. Breaking ball just missed. All goes well, you're probably looking at a 7-inning outing.
And that's where you hope you can get through this inning, bottom part of the lineup for the Padres in 12-14 pitches.
Yeah, I think my math was off a little bit. It's 25 2/3, not 26. That's at the knees. 25 2/3, the shutout streak that ended tonight by Ubaldo Jimenez. It's the longest by a starter in Rockies history, just short of what Gabe White produced out of the bullpen.
Gabe 29 and a third scoreless. That was from May 6th to July 9th back in 2000.
That's the year he won 11 ball games out of the pen. So it's actually, you can't count the outs in the inning that the run was scored. That was a mistake I made. So it's actually 25 1/3. 25 1/3. Tracy Ringlesby helping us out with that one.
That's why he's a Hall of Famer.
That's right. Got him. That is strikeout number 9. Last time Ubaldo was at Petco Park, his only start here a year ago, he struck out 10.
Forward strike zone with the changeup. It'll go down and out of the zone, but where it started in the middle part of the zone, and that was that split finger that we saw earlier in the ball game. It's just not fair when you're that good and can throw that hard split finger.
It's a dangerous man. This is a guy that could turn on a bullet, Scott Hairston. And he hit it a long way, and he gets a changeup out of the zone.
And if you're going to throw him a fastball, throw it away from him. Don't throw it in or half where he can turn on it. You're right. He's got as good a bat speed as anybody right now inside on the fastball.
Went to a slider, and he touched the inside corner. It's 1-1. Scott had a nice thrill the other day. He drove in his brother Jerry, and it's the first time it happened this year. That's the first time it's ever happened in the big leagues for those two. To drive in his big brother. 1-2.
There's that fastball I was talking about just a moment ago, but it had some run in it. And it wasn't the straight 4-seamer. It was a 2-seamer that ran back in, and the only thing you can do is hook it foul. Don't make a mistake and go back in there again. Do something away. Go with the split finger going down into the zone. But now you've thrown 2 pitches in the same spot. You tried to elevate the fastball, work away from his power.
He wanted up and in. That's a heater. I don't know how in the world he got to that ball. That gives you an idea what kind of hand speed he has, because you describe it. That's hard. That's a hard pitch to get to.
You can't. I mean, you can obviously foul it off, but see how he had to elevate it and bring his hands up to even get a piece of that. But now it works into your split finger.
1-2, and that curveball just low. 2-2. And he threw that exactly where he wanted to. He wasn't trying to throw for a strike. He was trying to get a swing and a miss.
Slider.
Got it. That is strikeout number 10 for Jimenez. 2 outs in the 6th, and that'll bring up Torrealba.
Talk about the hard slider. That's what it was. Even though it was up in the zone with the variation of the speeds, Hairston couldn't catch up to it.
Ubaldo's career high is 11 in San Diego 2 years ago. It's the 3rd time he has punched out at least 10 Padres, and on all 3 occasions it's been here at Petco. Torrealba has driven in the only run tonight for the Padres. Jimenez thought he had him struck out on a slider, and then 2 pitches later Torrealba lined a run-scoring double down the left field line. His former teammate gets a slider for a strike there. 1-1. Torrealba getting a little more playing time behind the plate. Nick Hundley is the guy who's had the majority of playing time, but Torrealba starting the last 2 days. And it's not as if Hundley's not hitting. He's hitting 274, 273. A couple home runs, 9 driven in.
Torrealba drove in his 9th run tonight.
106 pitches in, and he threw a 97-mile-an-hour tailing fastball in the outside corner.
But that's what separates him from other pitchers. That the ability to still do that in the 107th pitch.
And he got him on a splitter. He struck out the side in the 6th. We'll go to the 7th inning at Petco Park in San Diego. Rockies 2, Padres 1. 11 punch-outs. It is time for the Cooney Lexus look back. Well, in the 2nd inning, the Rockies got a double from Clint Barmas that scored 2. Just fair by inches in the left field corner. Gonzalez and Olivo scoring. In the 4th inning, it was Yovi Torrealba victimizing his former club, an RBI double. Will Venable coming around. 2-1, that's where we stand. That's brought to you by Cooney Lexus, where luxury has an address. With Jeff Hewson and Alana Rizzo, I'm Drew Goodman. The Rockies' last base runner was in the 3rd inning, a 1-out single by Todd Helton. 11 in a row retired by Correa. And that fastball was off the glove.
I think so.
Bat. I thought it was off the glove, not Olivo's bat. It's hard to tell. Evidently, it was Olivo's bat. It's 0-1.
Take another look at it. And
no, that didn't hit his bat.
That was the glove.
They got to get that straight.
Yeah, that's what,
now they do.
Okay.
They check it out with Mark Carlson, and he was on top of it. He said no contact with the bat. It is 1-0. Olivo, Stewart, and Barmas. 6, 7, and 8 for the Rockies. Leading by a precarious run. 7th inning is the Burger King Whopper inning. If Colorado hits a home run during the 7th inning, Burger King will offer a free Whopper with the purchase of a large drink the following day between 4 and 6 at participating restaurants only. Now, Olivo has hit 5 this year. That's a pitch Correa wanted. And now it's 3-0 on Miguel. Edward Mojica and Joe Thatcher continue to get loose in the Padres bullpen. That was the 100th pitch a moment ago by Correa, and that misses. And now Olivo, who has good speed, goes to first. underway. Olivo runs well. We keep reminding people of that. Something we learned about the stocky, well-built catcher, 6 foot, 230 pounds. But you know, he runs like a fullback.
Well, and that's a good thing to have, because sometimes when you have a catcher, it's misleading because you think he's just a station-to-station guy. If you hit the ball in the gap, you have the opportunity to go first and third. Tracy has a little bit of a interesting decision here. Is he going to try to bunt Ian Stewart in a one-run ball game or let him swing away?
See, I let him swing, and he's going to have another decision depending on what comes about in the 9-hole, because he had, talking about Jimenez, he had the extra day of rest, and I think Jim Tracy, just the way we've watched him operate, and this is his ace. This is one of the elite pitchers in the game, and with the extra day, I don't think he's coming out.
No,
I don't think he's coming out regardless of the situation. I think he's got. I think he wants him to throw one more inning. I mean, after all, he just punched out the side.
Well, and why not? He's a horse. He's a guy that's shown you the ability to throw 125 pitches. Let him go out there.
Good on by Stewart, and now it's 6 straight out of the zone by Correa.
And a much better approach this time than what we saw from Ian Stewart in his first couple of at-bats, where he went up there and was overly aggressive, because those are the same pitches that he swung at earlier in the ball game.
He stayed off that, and it's low. It's 3-0. Well, Correa's not missing by a lot.
He's not, but he's been out of the zone, and then all of a sudden he comes back there, and that's almost the same spot that we saw Larry miss a call on Yorvie from the pitch from Ubaldo.
That may have been the make good. That looked like it was a little lower than the previous pitch. 3-1. Stewart staring down Richie Dower.
Yeah, you wonder if maybe 3-1 they're going to start Olivo. There was a little bit of an extra long look down there to see.
When you were playing the infield, you looked in. Was that a giveaway to you?
Yeah, sure was.
Olivo's not moving. This ball ripped down the line. It is a fair ball into the corner. Olivo to third. Venable will fire it in. Olivo stops there. Into second with a double is Stewart. And the Rockies have runners in scoring position with nobody out here in the 7th.
But Ian got himself into that hitter's count by not swinging at a couple balls that were just off the plate. Even with the 1 strike there was, that pitch came inside and was elevated, and he just turned on it. That front side stayed closed and got the bat through and drove it to the right field line. Now you have second and third, and a decision made by Bud Black to go get his starter Kevin Correa. Edward Mojica coming in.
2-1 Rockies. Hey, a reminder, if you started saving for your kids' college dreams, I'm sure you have, but I have a great idea, something my wife and I have done, and we did it a while back. We started a College Invest 529 savings plan for each of our 3 boys. With college costs as high as they are now, and think about where they'll be down the road, you need to do the same thing. And it does not matter what you put in. As little as $25 will get you started. You can set up automatic deposits as well. That's the way we have gone. So get started tomorrow. When you wake up, take care of the kids. Go to collegeinvest.org and get started saving for your kids' futures. Edward Mojica comes on. Olivo at third, Stewart at second, Varmus out of the 8-hole with both ribbies in the ball game. It is a 2-1 lead for Colorado. We're in the 7th inning. Today's call to the bullpen is brought to you by Comcast Digital Home Phone Service. Warm up to unlimited local and long distance. Call 1-800-COMCAST. The Rockies saw him in early April in the middle game of the 3-game set at Coors Field. He worked an inning and a third of scoreless relief. Outside. Ball 1 on Varmus. So much of the conversation with the Padres 7 games above 500 surrounding their very good starting pitching, but their bullpen's been outstanding also.
And that's been the other strong suit for the Padres. And the thing with that is that there are a lot of hard throwers out there. Hard slider to Barmes.
13th appearance for Mexico.
174 average, 167 lefties, 179 righties.
Tell what else you have to like. 12-2 ratio, 6-1 ratio, 12 strikeouts, just 2 walks. Tonight's delivery of the game brought to you by Jimmy John's. The double by Barmes in the second inning to give the Rockies at the time a 2-0 lead. Now Jimmy John's delivery of the game. That would work well here. Barmes covering that fastball up and away. It was a 1-2 count in which he doubled back in the second inning. Jimenez is on deck. Well, if you're Jim Tracy, we talked about it a moment ago. If Barmes does not get a hit here and does not drive in a run, do you let Jimenez hit?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Well, we're going to find out right now. And as we discussed a few moments ago, Jim Tracy's going to go with his horse, or the man he calls Chief. And you have Olivo, who, as we discussed, runs pretty well at third. Jimenez with the bat. Bud Black was a pitcher. He's as astute a manager as there is in the game. And you know what he's thinking right now. Will they squeeze?
First pitch squeeze. I mean, that's the options that you have if you're Jim Tracy. The Padres have really moved their infield in now to cut off the run at home with the pitcher up. With Clint Barmes, they were back about 3 or 4 steps to give themselves a little bit more range with nobody out. Now with the ball, though, they've come in even more.
The Rockies are 6 for 33 on this trip with runners in scoring position. On Jimenez. And despite that first movement toward the bucket, we've discussed this, Jimenez will give you a competitive at bat.
Well, he can cover because he's got such long arms. He's a big guy. He's 6'3", 6'4", and so he can be able to cover that even if that left foot starts to bail. 2-0 count. And that was the one right there.
Yeah, that was up in the happy zone, if a pitcher has a happy zone.
Pitchers typically like the ball up a little bit more because it feels like it's easier to get to. Out in the outfield, you got Venable in right field, very, very good arm. Tony Gwynn Jr. has a good arm shaded over towards right center field with the pitcher up. Harrison's come in about 5 steps from where he's been too. So if this ball is hitting the outfield, knowing how aggressive the Rockies are in Ridge Dower, that probably send Miguel Olivo over at third base.
2-1, line drive, get down, base hit. Olivo had to wait. He's got to hustle to get home. Stewart goes to third. Ubaldo Jimenez going Little League on us. He's pitching and he's hitting. 3-1 Colorado.
Talk about covering the ball away. That's what they did. They tried to pitch him away. He covered away and hit the ball in the right center field gap for Ubaldo's second RBI this season. Good pitch from Mujica, fastball. It was probably center cut, but with that opening of that front leg, he hits it to right field. Venable can only play it on the hop and get the ball back in. And that was tremendous base running from Miguel Olivo, because he did start to go back. Once he saw the ball fall, he was able to score.
And the fastball to Seth Smith's down low. Well, I said it so many times over the years here at Petco Park. This is the kind of baseball game you see about 90% of the time here. You just got to grind out victories. You got to come up with a clutch hit. You got to play defense. because there are not going to be a lot of runs. One of the lowest scoring parks year in and year out in baseball. Here's Smith, and he fouls this one off.
I want to go back to a little bit of a teaching lesson here. Now, Levo, as a third base, a runner on third base, what you have to do is you have to go back and say, I'm going to tag up, because that's your first instinct. Because if Venable catches the ball, you've got to be able to then score. But once he saw it go, you don't have to go all the way back to the bag. He was able to still make it home, and here's a catcher.
Anticipate the circus catch, because if he doesn't make it, you're going to be able to score in.
You know, how many times do you see that circus catch and the guy's dancing off of third base, and then it's too late to go back to the bag, and now you're stuck in no man's land. You don't score. Your batter's mad because you cost him an RBI and an at bat, and your team a chance to win.
Ground ball to first, fair ball, 1 out, and now Stewart hung up. And it's going to turn into a double play. And the Rockies are done, but they do get a run. 3-1 they lead as we go to the bottom of the 7th in San Diego. Rockies leading 3-1. Ubaldo Jimenez completes his warm-up pitches in the bottom of the 7th. Time for the Coors Light Cold Hard Blast. Infield drawn in. Ubaldo Jimenez against Edward Mujica, and he helps his own cause with a line single to right field. His second RBI of the year. Olivo comes around. It's 3-1 Colorado on Coors Light Cold Hard Blast. The Rockies at second and third, nobody out, and it's Jimenez who drives in the only run. Rockies make one change defensively. Ryan Spilborghs goes to left field. He's in there for Seth Smith. It'll be Lance Zawadski, the kid who was just called up a couple of days ago. Zawadski stepping to the plate for the 6th time in his major league career, and he gets a fastball at 96 for a strike.
Probably a guy like Jerry Hairston will come up and pinch hit, save Matt Stairs for later on in the ballgame.
Well, I would think that if somehow Zawadski were to reach, you'd take your shot with Stairs next. He's the only lefty they have on the bench. He's their, their power bat on the bench. Zawadski's behind 0-2. That's Jerry Hairston right now. This will be almost assuredly the last inning for Jimenez. He's at 110 pitches. He's been over 120 twice this year. See you later. Change up, and that is strikeout number 12, a new career high for Jimenez. Let's check in again with Alana. How you doing, Alana?
Hey, Drew, thanks very much. You know, the Rockies training room kind of looks a bit like a MASH unit, but the good news is there's a lot of progress in terms of the rehab for the guys on the DL. We can take a look at who's on there right now. Right-handed pitcher Houston Street. He's throwing a bullpen session tomorrow, and then a game with the extended spring team on Friday. Brad Hoppe ran sprints today. He's going to do that again tomorrow. He's also going to work in some base running. Jeff Francis will pitch in Tulsa on May 6th. He's going to allow him a maximum of 75 pitches. Jorge de la Rosa, he's working on conditioning for his legs, getting treatment on that finger. Jason Hamill threw a bullpen yesterday. He had him in the mid-70 range for amount of pitches. He's going to do that again soon. And for the record, I have 2 pulled calves, and I am day-to-day.
What? 2 pulled calves?
Yeah, I killed both of my calves this weekend. I did, honestly.
You're not day-to-day. You're playing tonight.
Day-to-day, guys. It hurts bad. I got Flexall today from the training room.
Jerry Hairston takes his stride.
They still make Flexall?
What's that?
They still make Flexall?
Yeah, I had to get it and rub it on there because I can't walk. Too much time dancing at the wedding.
Well, that's not the perfume that we expect out of you.
That is true.
It doesn't smell that good, does it?
I know. You smell like icy hot. It's bad.
1-1 on Hairston.
Well, the other guy in that group, too, is Jason Hamill. He threw a bullpen yesterday. Pretty good lather yesterday. 75 pitches.
Here's the 1-1 on Hairston, and you got to hustle. Jimenez shot on the help, right on the money.
Looked like an infielder.
Well, it helps to be a terrific athlete. Jimenez is that. It's one of the things that Jim Tracy and Bob Apodaca talk about throughout spring training, not just in fielding your position, but as a pitcher, be an athlete.
Be in an athletic position, too, and that's what Ubaldo was able to do there, where he went over there, caught it, didn't stand up and try to throw back over the top. He threw from low 3/4, like turning 2 with a runner.
Yeah, I want to add, Alana did a marvelous job. There's so many people that are nicked right now. I want to add, you know, Buchholz is going to Modesto on Wednesday. Taylor Buchholz is going to Modesto, so he's getting much closer. Greg Reynolds is headed to Modesto also. 2 outs, Anthony Gwynn, and the breaking ball is low, ball 1. 115 pitches tonight for Ubaldo Jimenez. 2 outs in the 7th inning. He has struck out a career-high 12. It's above the belt, 2-0.
Joe Beimel now getting loose down in the Rockies bullpen, and that would be for Adrian Gonzalez.
And I think more than anything, because Jimenez has struck out Gonzalez 3 times, if it were to get that far, Eckstein's on deck, it would be a pitch count issue and not necessarily just we don't want him to face him a 4th time.
Right.
He's still firing darts at 98. He's been in triple digits tonight, folks. Unofficially, we believe 7 times. A high of 101. And the 3-1 is swung on and missed, 3-2.
All right, just one more fastball.
You know, I think, you know, for a guy that you know, stabs on the backside, it seems like his delivery is smoother now than it's ever been. Strike 3. Yep. See you later. At 98, 7 gorgeous innings for Ubaldo Jimenez, the Rockies ace. He'll undoubtedly depart with a 3-1 lead as we go to inning number 8 at Petco Park in San Diego. 13 punch-outs. 3-1 Colorado, top of inning number 8. Ubaldo Jimenez has been sensational. He's allowed 4 hits in 7 innings, struck out a career-high 13. Repair that chip in your windshield. Do it now. Call Safelite Elite Auto Glass at 303-287-5000, online at safelight.com. In the 8th inning, Joe Thatcher, the only lefty in San Diego's bullpen, will come on. Dexter Fowler, Todd Helton, Troy Tulowitzki. And interesting in that the skipper, Jim Tracy, has not gone over to Ubaldo Jimenez yet to shake hands and give him a bear hug and say, job well done, and we're going to let the bullpen get the last 6 outs.
Oh, maybe he wants him to go out there and face the one right-hander and David Eckstein.
Yeah, apparently, you know, because nobody's warming right now.
Well, if Joe Beimel had been up, it would only take him a second. He could get back up once this inning, this next half inning were to start, because you have Adrian Gonzalez and then you have Chase Headley, who's not quite as good, at least average-wise. You see the base hit from Dexter Fowler to right field, right-handed, and you got Will Venable, the lefty.
Jim Tracy's some things differently the last couple of days in his bullpen. Yesterday in particular, he had Morales against a couple of tough hitters work in the 8th inning, and then Corpus actually through the 9th inning. It was a non-save situation, but it was still a tight ball game. It was a 4-run ball game. And he does not have Betancourt up right now. Helton at the plate has hit for a much better average early in the season against lefties than he has against righties. Todd coming into the ball game hitting .360 against lefties. He was hitting just .220 against righties.
3 for 8 in his career off of Thatcher.
Todd went 1 for 3 against Correa, a 3rd inning single. Take a look at the Amica hit zone in a moment on Helton. And Todd doing something I haven't seen. When was the last time you saw that?
I didn't ever see him play in Little League, so that would probably be the last time.
And you know he didn't do it at Tennessee.
Nope. And that's just an aberration, folks. That thing will change at the end of the season in a Mika hit zone for Todd Helton.
Crowd oohing and on. That, at least from up here, looked like it missed by a bunch. It did miss. All right, evaluate Thatcher's move from up here.
Not good. Okay, it's just plain not good. And the way he tries to combat that is just be a little bit quicker to the plate.
Or hold the baseball. Yeah, there doesn't seem to be. Usually lefties can hang a little bit with that leg, and they're deceptive with it.
But just his setup doesn't allow that, Drew. The way he's set up, his body's kind of crossfired already. All right. Got a note from the Cowboy here. Todd's had 3 sacrifice bunts. Last one was 2005.
Yeah, and that one, he looked like he was bunting for a hit.
He was.
That's way inside. 3-1. Tulowitzki on deck.
Fans, the first 10,000 of you through the gate on Tuesday, May 25th will receive a coupon for a $1 hot dog courtesy of Hebrew National. The game against the Arizona Diamondbacks. You can get your tickets at all the usual places.
Ball 4, so Helton pushes Fowler to scoring position. And they're 2 on and nobody out for Tulowitzki.
Darren Balsley, the pitching coach, going to have to make a quick trip out there so they can try to get Sean Gallagher, the right-hander, loose. Let's take a look at the bullpen for the San Diego Padres. We've already seen Mujica used in that 1 inning back in the 7th. Joe Thatcher's the only lefty, their late guy out of the pen. And being behind in the game, they usually either will go to a Gallagher or a Stauffer, and right now Sean Gallagher is up because their closer Heath Bell and Luke Gregerson have probably been as good throwing Mike Adams at that as anybody in the National League as far as that back into that bullpen once they get the lead.
Troy's 0 for 3. Outside corner for a strike. Eckstein trying to keep Dexter from swiping third.
But when he does that, I mean, he's right on second base. And it leaves such a big hole on the right side.
That looks like a Little League.
Doesn't it?
We've referenced Little League about 4 times tonight. But yeah, in Little League, this
guy stands on the base right here.
He's a first baseman, and he leaves 75, 80 feet of room on the right side. Well, that's what Eckstein's doing right now, as if he's saying, I know I got to keep him close, and I'm going to figure that Tulowitzki's not going to hit the ball to the right side.
But if you're going to pitch him away, it just kind of plays into the hand.
And Tulo, that is a fair ball. So Tulowitzki ends up moving the runners to scoring position. Your cleanup hitter.
That's okay.
Puts down a bunt, and now you have a couple of swipes to drive in a couple of insurance runs.
It goes back to the fundamentals. It goes back to something you've said a couple different times in tonight's broadcast, Drew, as far as what type of games are played here at Petco. low scoring 2-1, 3-1 type of ball games where if you got to scratch and claw to get that extra run, get that third run margin, then go ahead and do it. And look at all the guys in the dugouts giving him high five. That was probably more of a play on his own by Troy than a call, but it's a smart one.
Well, it was like Helton. I mean, he was pushing the bunt, trying to push it toward the area that we were talking about that was vacated. This ball is going to be fouled off and out of play by Gonzalez. He was trying to push it past the pitcher for a hit, but the result was a good result anyhow. It was, because now you've moved Dexter Fowler over to third base. So a short fly ball, he's going to be able to score a blooper, a ball that maybe's chopped off the plate. A lot of different options now with Dexter over at third base and his speed. And this ball swatted to center field, base hit. One run is scored. Here's Helton around third. He'll score easily. Carlos Gonzalez coming through. Make it 5-1 Colorado.
Let's give a tip of the cap to Troy with that sac bunt. Now you draw the infielders in. You get the slider from Thatcher. Carlos Gonzalez stays on it for his 19th RBI of the season.
And you know what else? Now you can sit Jimenez down and allow your bullpen to take the final 6 outs. High fives all around. This replay brought to you by the Colorado Lottery. He went down and ripped it to center field. Carlos Gonzalez, 2 more ribbies. He leads the club, as Jeff said, with 19. And from now until June 30th, replay any of your non-winning scratch tickets and a second chance drawing. Enter your tickets at coloradolottery.com. Rockies executing late. They lead the Padres 5-1. Well, as we talked about a moment ago, now the handshakes come for Ubaldo Jimenez. He was going to go back out there if this was still a 2-run ball game, at least for a hitter or 2. Smiles all around. Ubaldo in search of his 6th win of the year. He's the only 5-0 pitcher in Major League Baseball. And his work tonight, 7 innings, just a run on 4 hits. A couple of walks and a career best 13 punch-outs. If you're looking in from elsewhere in the country and you don't know the name Ubaldo Jimenez, you should. And I'm sure you have a pretty good idea now as to why everybody out west has been talking about him for a while.
How could you not know about that guy?
Well, he threw a no-hitter, and that got him on the radar. That certainly got him on the radar. But there's still people we run into and say, you know, where did he come from? Well, he won 15 games last year.
Right. And
he won double digits. He won 12 a couple of years ago.
Just because he pitches west of the Mississippi does not mean that he's not a good pitcher.
Gallagher checking out. Carlos Gonzalez at first. Miguel Olivo at the plate. Miguel's had a very productive night. 1 for 2 and a walk. He has scored 2 runs. There goes Gonzalez, and Torrealba's throw is on the bag. That's 5 caught stealing now by Yorvit Torrealba, who really struggled with his throwing. Last year, 4 for 53. He's 5 for 9.
It was a good jump. It was just a better throw, that's all. I mean, right on the money. All that David Eckstein had to do was drop the tag down. I like the way Eckstein just straddled the bag, let the ball come to you so you don't have to reach back and you just drop it right on the runner.
When you were a roving instructor in the Cubs organization, did you teach, and also when you played in the big leagues, did you teach come to the front of the bag or straddle it like you saw
Just
Eckstein?
like I saw Eckstein doing it.
Because so many times you see, as Olivo fouls it off, the middle infielder catch it in front and he reaches back, and the runner, to his credit, slides to the back third of the bag and is safe.
Right. But you let the ball travel because it's going faster than you trying to reach up, catch it, and swipe back. Let the ball travel, you drop it down.
Jerry Harrison at shortstop now throws out Olivo. 5-1 Colorado. Gonzalez comes through with a 2-run single. Rockies and Dodgers. Series starts Friday at 7:30. Rockies up 5-1. Cargo with a couple of RBIs, got 19 now. Today's game reset is brought to you by Ecotech Institute in Denver, where you can make the world your workplace. The Rockies got a 2-0 lead on a double by Clint Barmes in the second inning. When the Padres scored in the fourth, that ended the shutout streak of Ubaldo Jimenez at 25 1/3 innings. And now the Rockies have added 3 here in the late innings. The outing for Jimenez, 7 innings, 13 punch-outs, a run on 4 hits as he looks to go 6-0. Joe Beimel is on to begin the 8th inning. David Eckstein is at the plate. Adrian Gonzalez is behind him. And warming up in the Rockies bullpen is Rafael Betancourt. And 2-0.
Beimel threw in Saturday's ball game in San Francisco. 1 clean inning, couple punch outs.
This is not what you want to see.
He just had the 4-run lead now. A couple runs that last inning. Come out and attack the strike zone.
On the outside corner, 3-2. Eckstein hit one of the 2 or 3 hardest balls all night against Jimenez. It was a line drive gloved at third by that man, Ian Stewart.
He was turned on that fastball. 2-0 count from Ubaldo.
And this is popped up right around the pitcher's mouth. Todd's got to grab it, and he will. He doesn't have to. I mean, Bible couldn't call that, but that unwritten rule. Time for the Breaks Plus Take a Break poll of the game. You may recall that we were asking you, is the starting pitching in the National League West the best of any division in baseball? And let's see how you all voted. 85% think along the same lines we do. That you talk about Jimenez and a Lincecum and a Kane and Barry Zito now.
Dan Herron.
Dan Herron. I mean, a young left-hander in LA. Kershaw has a tremendous arm. I'll tell you what, there's some young pitchers that the Rockies are going to see the next couple of days that throw the ball well, namely Clayton Richard here. 1-1 on Adrian Gonzalez, who's thrilled to death that Jimenez is no longer in the game.
You know, not many times does a left-handed batter relish the thought of a left-hander coming in. But tonight, Adrian Gonzalez says, okay, I'm in. At 3 strikeout swings in the first, third, and the fifth, I'm good with another lefty.
Yeah, as great as he is, he didn't want to see Jimenez anymore. 3 times he came to bat, and 3 times he struck out. 2 outs. And that'll bring up Chase Headley. He had one of the 4 hits against Jimenez.
You know, forget you can follow the Rockies on your iPhone, iPod Touch, BlackBerry, or Android phone with MLB.com at Bat 2010, featuring video highlights and more. Visit ColoradoRockies.com on your phone to purchase today.
Headley from the right side, and that's on the outside corner. See, we showed those folks earlier. They're happy right now. Good changeup, 0-2. Padres have been tough. They have won 5 consecutive series. 13-3 over their last 16 games. And Huey, they've outscored the opponent by 40 runs during that 16-game stretch, 76-36. Here's the 0-2. I want to remind people that last year, even though the Padres finished in 4th place in the division, over the final 2+ months of the season, they went 37-25. They were 12 games over 500. So this nice run, if you will, didn't just start in April. It goes back to latter third of the 09 season. Tulowitzki throws the fastball over, and Headley is gone. 1, 2, 3, 8th inning for Joe Beimel. 5-1 Rockies as we're off to the 9th. Colorado Rockies baseball on FSN is brought to you by Comcast Digital Home Phone Service. Warm up to unlimited local and long distance. Call 1-800-COMCAST. By Dex One Marketing Solutions, business results. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Burger King, home of the Whopper. Beautiful night, isn't it always, in San Diego? And the scoreboard is pretty as well. Rockies up 5-1, top of the 9th inning. Post-game report to follow. With the details, our friend Tom Helmer. Tom?
Drew, coming up after the ball game, we'll talk about Kay Menez. What a tremendous performance by Ubaldo tonight. We'll break it down for you, plus hopefully hear from him. Also, we'll talk small ball. Troy Tulowitzki with a great bunt there to help the cause for the Rockies in the 8th inning. And, of course, we'll be in the clubhouse for all your post-game sound. It's all coming up on the Rockies post-game report. Drew?
Hey, Tom, did you put sunscreen on today?
No.
I didn't think so.
I know. I've been looking at. You're like the second person to make that comment. I was at San Francisco. I borrowed some from Jim Wright, but that spray stuff doesn't work good. You got to get the stuff you really rub on. Yeah,
because you look like an overripe tomato.
I'm going for that Oompa Loompa look.
Well, you've achieved it.
Well, perfect. Great.
It looks good, Tom.
The rest of me is like albino, but that's golden.
That is golden. Tom, you're too much. We'll talk to you in a little bit, man.
You got it.
All right, that's high to Stewart, 2-1. Stewart had a double in the 7th inning to help ignite a Rockies rally. They got a run in that inning. Miguel Olivo scored on an Ubaldo Jimenez base hit. Let's not forget that Ubaldo threw out a base hit, and RBI wanted that in the 7th inning.
Yeah, so
to give the Rockies a 2-run separation. That was a huge sequence.
The 13 strikeouts, the 4 hits, the 1 run, 7 innings.
That's not what he'll be talking about.
He'll be talking about the RBI. Yeah,
absolutely. By the way, Ubaldo, his ERA skyrocketing tonight after that earned run he allowed in 7 innings. It goes from 0.79 to 0.87. So Tracy will field a couple questions about whether or not he'll send Jimenez out. We'll straighten some things out in his delivery after this performance. 0.87 through 6 starts.
We showed the graphic earlier in the ball game after 5 starts. All the guys that won Cy Youngs. And
well, here's something. I've done some quick math. He's now thrown 41 1/3 innings this year. He's allowed a whopping 26 hits. He has walked 16, and in those 41 1/3, he has struck out 44. We didn't even tell everybody, as Barmes going to try to avoid ground into the double play out at first base. And I'll tell you what, Eckstein got spilled by Stewart. They're both laughing about it.
Well, yeah, that's what you have to do if you're a second baseman. Barmes hit that ball up the middle. Harrison gives a good quick feed. But the reason why he was able to really avoid anything dangerous is he got his foot up and out of the bag, and the throw to first base, it looked like he might have been safe.
Joe Beimel's getting a hit, and I think that has to do with the fact that Will Venable's leading off, and maybe he's going to allow him to throw to Venable. I think if there was anybody on base here, you would not see Joe Beimel. Just a guess.
Well, the other option you might see too is that Beimel go out there, and then if they decide to pinch hit, maybe a Salazar or Kyle Blank, somebody like that, then once he's announced, then you can go to your bullpen and bring in Betancourt.
So Beimel is gone. We'll go to the bottom of the ninth. Rockies looking for 3 more outs. They're up 5-1. Hey, here's another reminder. Don't miss a special 1-hour Rockies All Access baseball in the Dominican Republic. It will come your way 3 days from tonight, Thursday night at 7 in the Mountain Time Zone. Rockies ace Ubaldo Jimenez will take you through his native land. He'll also take you through the Rockies Academy in the Dominican Republic, where his professional baseball career began. And then he'll explore what life was like growing up in difficult conditions. Life in the Dominican Republic. A special 1-hour Rockies All Access in Ubaldo narrates a good portion of that program. We look forward to that on Thursday night. 5-1 Colorado. And with Venable being called back, Beimel is going to be removed and Betancourt will come on. Just as you speculated, Jim Tracy will go take the baseball, since Bud Black has gone to Salazar, the right-handed bat. So another commercial. 5-1 Colorado. Colorado. Rafael Betancourt has completed his warm-up pitches. FSN Rocky Mountains, your home for exclusive Rockies coverage. I think you know that. Text FSN RM to 95323 to receive the latest Rockies updates to your phone. Message and data rates may apply. So Oscar Salazar will pinch hit for Will Venable. And Rafael Betancourt will try to get the final 3 outs and then shake hands. And the fastball pours over the outside corner at 93, strike 1.
Salazar on the year 0 for 11 as a pinch hitter.
They only have 1 pinch hit all year. For a club that's, excuse me, they have 3 pinch hits all year. Matt Stairs is 1 for 10. He's their power guy off the bench, the veteran. Scott Hairston is 2 for 5. One and 1 on Salazar.
Salazar's wearing those new batting gloves that were just approved this year by Major League Baseball. A little yellow. They've got special padding on the outside part of the glove. It's supposed to slow down a pitch and the ability to break a hand, and that's kind of the theory behind it. 100 mile an hour pitch supposed to feel like a 30 mile an hour pitch.
Is that right?
Yep.
That's strike 3. That's 14 strikeouts for the Rockies staff tonight. 13 obviously by their starter Jimenez. Is that right?
Yeah.
It's supposed to
go from 100,
diffuse it that much?
Yes, down to 30. Now, I mean, you could have probably seen that tonight if Ubaldo was showing that 100 mile an hour fastball, if anybody took it off the hand. But that's the theory behind those gloves.
You know what we can do? Because there's an off day in LA on Thursday. And Ubaldo will throw a bullpen, I'm sure, somewhere around that time. So why don't you put those gloves on, and then we'll have Ubaldo throw one of those 100 mile an hour heaters, and you just stick your hand out and then tell us how it feels. Do
I have silly written on my forehead or something? Because I'm not doing that.
It doesn't say silly. It says something else. 0-1 on Hairston.
What another performance. And how about the 2 young kids bookending them there?
Yeah, you know what, the performance by Esmil Rogers on the left, the performance by Yolis Chacin, who is on Jimenez's left yesterday. I mean, that was magnificent. We're talking about 1 hit in 7 innings. He didn't give up a hit until there were 2 outs in the 5th. I mean, that was the only hit A ground ball double down the left field line by Matt Downs.
Yeah, and he's probably one of the last guys in that lineup you would have thought would have been able to get a hit off of Chacin yesterday. You would have thought Pablo Sandoval, Uribe, Aubrey Huff, a lot of those guys.
Or maybe Downs had seen him in the minor leagues.
Sure.
He knew a little bit more about him. 7 strikeouts also in those 7 innings of work. 1-2 on Hairston. And he's gone on a good slider. That slider had great tilt to it. 2 outs in the 9th. And that'll bring out Yorvit Torrealba. Yorvit drove in the only run for the Padres tonight, a 4th inning double. I know I keep bringing this up, but Jimenez thought he had him struck out on a slider 2 pitches before the double. And if he did get that call, he may still have that shutout streak intact. He's 1 out from his 6th win, and the Rockies are 1 out from leveling their record at 13-13. Cooling off the Padres. High pop up, right side. And
4 rows deep.
One guy who could have gotten that is Frank Howard.
Big Frank.
Reached out there, and there would have been some flex still in the elbow.
Watch him hit a fungo. That was impressive. What a big, large man.
So when he was managing, he got your attention. Right? 0-1 on Torrealba, and Betancourt with a slider that's fouled back. 0-2.
Just a pure joy in his face.
He's just we've said it many times, he's a wonderful, wonderful young man. Oh, the Yogi Berra catcher stance. Look at Olivo breaking that out.
Oh, wow, since we've seen the Yogi Berra.
Set him up for the slider.
Slider or fastball down and away, just where Betancourt really hit that spot.
That's popped up, and I think that one's going to drift out of play also. Frank would have caught that one too.
Rangers just can never relax until that 27th out.
No, they can't get it.
No, I mean, his mind is spinning right now, and
a base hit for Torrealba. Matt Stairs is going to pinch hit here. Torrealba and Helton chatting away at first base. Matt Stairs 1 for 10 pinch hitting.
And this is where you have the luxury, though, up by 4 runs and 2 outs, that you can go ahead and let Betancourt pitch the Stairs with the right-hander on deck.
Torrealba goes ahead and takes second base. Good pitch.
Those were the pitches that Rafael was able to hit his spots all of last year and the first start of this year, and then the last couple weeks he's just not been able to fine-tune it quite as much as he would like to.
Morales has been throwing for a while, just in case. And now, Olivo and Betancourt trying to get on the same page. And it may just be a sign sequence with Torey Albert second.
Well, that's what it is. Jorvic's been out there for a while, and remember, he caught Betancourt last year, so he knows the tendencies of what Betancourt likes to throw in certain situations, maybe what sign he goes with. So they're just double checking to make sure that, first of all, the pitcher and catcher are on the same page, but the Jorvic's not trying to steal any signs out there and relay him to Matt Stairs.
And that's going to die in left center field. A base hit. Torey Albert will score. And it's 5-2. Jerry Hairston.
Toward strike zone, the sinking ball away. It was off the plate, but all three pitches were in the same location, and then Matt Stairs just stayed on it. We talk about staying on a pitch and letting it travel just a little bit and then hitting it the other way, and that's what Stairs was able to do.
Well, if it gets to Gwynn, you'll see Morales. Hairston's thought process there, which is to get the tying run to the plate. Understand it. The problem with that is the kid who's coming up next, Anthony Gwynn's not going to hit the ball out of the ballpark.
But then what happens, though, is if Jim Tracy decides to go to the left-hander, you bring in Kyle Blanks, who has the ability to leave any ballpark, strike out a lot. You just see what Jim Tracy was mouthing right there, Blanks, and that's what they're pouring over the numbers. And with Blanks being so young, you kind of wonder. And there's big Kyle Blanks, just not having it bad against Franklin Morales.
He homered yesterday. He can hit it really far. He strikes out a ton. Hopefully it doesn't come to that. 0-1 on Hairston. Betancourt missed with that fastball location by a decent amount on a couple of occasions here in the inning. One and two.
So far, Hairston's has helped Betancourt out. He tried to bunt that first pitch. It was a ball. It was up. And then that last pitch was also up and out of the zone.
To go slider here.
Trying to go fastball away. Set the target real low if you're.
He's had trouble getting it to the glove side, hasn't he?
Yep.
And he had trouble again. No swing. I mean, that's a 2.5 foot miss, really.
And that's unusual.
Up also.
Yeah.
He's trying to get it down in a way.
In glove side, and when that happens is you're usually trying to overthrow too much, and you're not following your arm, and you're running away from your glove, and your front shoulder is opening up.
Two and two.
Goes back to the point we were talking about. Everything's been high into the zone, and instead of pulling down with that front side, keeping that shoulder in and reaching out and trying to point your elbow towards that target, you're really rotating in your upper half too much.
And again, to your point, you just described it on the 4 strike zone. Everything's been up. Now, sometimes you want to go up by design, but there have been oftentimes where Levo's given a target low and away, and the ball's been up. So.
Well, here's to me what you do now is you throw the slider, because now you get a different release point. You really get the pitcher to focus on getting out in front and trying to throw the ball with some downhill tilt to it. You get him to think about something else, but they're going to go with the fastball again. But still, even with those fouls and everything, you can see where Yorvit wants the ball. He wants it, I mean, excuse me, Miguel, where he wants the ball. He wants it down and just not able to get it there.
What a play by Barmes to end the ball game. Clint Barmes with a gorgeous play to end the ball game. And the Rockies win it 5-2. A sparkling play by Barmes to take a hit away from Jerry Hairston.
Second one tonight. Think earlier in the ball game that he made that line drive catch on Chase Headley, and now with the hard smash to his backhand, able to slide, catch it, and then make the nice easy toss to Troy Tulowitzki for the third out and a 5-2 victory for the Rockies. Hairston not too pleased.
Well, the player of the game is brought to you by Granger, for the ones who get it done. Guess who the player of the game is? Ubaldo Jimenez, 7 innings, a 1-run baseball. He struck out a career-high 13. He allowed just 4 hits. His ERA now 0.87, and he is 6-0. The only pitcher in big league baseball that is unbeaten with 6 victories. Our Granger player of the game, Ubaldo Jimenez, the 26-year-old from the Dominican Republic. Rockies win it 5-2. They're now 13-13, 2-2 on this road trip to California. The Padres fall to 16-10. Stick around. As always, the post-game report is next from here at Petco Park.